Hey everybody, welcome back to Fandomly Speaking,
where each week we speak randomly about fandoms. I'm Liza.
And I'm Melissa, and this week we are going back to the island!
So excited!
We are going to get very random, oh so random, about Lost seasons 4 through 6.
Yes, so there will be spoilers, probably for all of Lost, just seasons 1 through 6. So if you haven't watched Lost, go back and do that, and
you're gonna
come back.
get spoiled. Yes, and our other warning is we are two Gen X autistic women, and we never really know what's going to come out of our mouths. Sometimes we may go off on a wild tangent, and
Often.
we may come back to the point. We may not come back to the point. Don't wait for it.
We may not know what our point was in the first place.
Just roll with us.
We don't know.
Roll with us, yes. So, Liza, how you doing this week?
Pretty good. Lots going on. School has been hard. My daughter's school, we got back into homeschool. That's been rough. So I haven't had a lot of time for geeking.
Yeah.
I can't remember if last week I had finished Buffy, but I finished through college years.
Oh, you
So
did? Okay, no, you
season-
had just started college, I think.
Okay, I think I finished college years.
Yeah.
Is college years done by season 4?
Yeah, because they really, I only, college years is like 1 year.
Yeah, so I'm done through season 4, so I'm going to start season 5 today.
Yay.
Yeah, I read a book called Whirlwind. I think it was all right. It's Kayla Gross, and I started Quicksilver. So
How's that going?
I don't know. I don't want to say yet because
Okay.
I'm exactly halfway done, and I know a lot of people like this book, so I don't want to just like everybody tune out right now because they hate me.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I absolutely hate bully romance. Like I can't stand, I can't stand it. And in this first half, he is just the biggest asshole to her. And if he turns it around, that's fine, but I will never forget that he was an
Like
asshole.
worse
so
than
I'm like,
Zayden?
oh yeah, Zayden I feel like is enemy to lovers, and this
Yeah.
is just bully. He's just a
Oh,
bully.
I
He's
know.
condescending and he's mean and he's
No.
he makes her humiliated. Like I just don't like it. So
Okay.
we're getting to the point where she's like, but he's got problems, and I'm like,
Okay.
I don't
All
know.
right.
Maybe next
Okay.
week I'll have a different opinion on this book.
Yeah,
So
let
we'll
me
see.
know. Let me know. I read the first page and went, nope. So
Well,
Liza's
maybe I'll
doing
have a
some field
I'll have a different
testing for
opinion.
me.
Well, I'll let you know.
Yeah. For me this week in geeking was a lot of watching Lost. So I did not finish it, unfortunately, because I also I haven't been feeling well this week, and Grey's Anatomy is a comfort show for me. Don't judge me. So I started, I've been binging Grey's Anatomy, and like I'm already at the end of season 2. So, so that's like 40 episodes in a week. It's a little, but yeah,
That's amazing.
I'm at the end of season 5 in my rewatch. Otherwise, been listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl. I finished the second book. I'm starting the third book today.
Good luck.
Absolutely cracking up.
That book's hard to picture. It's all in the trains, and that train system
the
will
tunnels
melt
and the
your
trains.
brain trying to figure out what. It's a lot. So it's a
Okay.
good book, but it's hard
Okay.
to picture.
Okay. I might not
So
even
fun.
try to picture it.
Yeah, just go with vibes.
Follow the story.
vibe,
Yeah,
right.
Vibing. Yeah, and I can't think of anything else I did. I still want to watch K-pop Demon Hunters, and I
Me
might do
too. I
that this
haven't either. I
weekend.
keep trying to get my daughter. I'm like, don't you want to watch it? She's like, eh.
Yeah, no, my
on.
son's not interested. There's no way my husband will watch it. So
So we'll have to watch together.
yeah,
Because I
we'll
wanna
have to
see
go
it
on
too.
FaceTime. Do a watch party.
We should let everyone know that Melissa has seen Lost. She did. She just
Oh
hasn't
yeah, I've
finished her
seen the whole
this
show.
time
I'm sorry.
You know.
I have I had just rewatched it right
Right.
before we were starting the podcast, and I just rewatched it again.
Right.
And I think that leads us really well into talking about the show, because I think the truly cool thing about Lost is that, yes, I did just watch it, and I'm watching it again a few months later and seeing things I didn't see the first time, or the
unreal,
last
this
time,
show.
or the last 5 times.
Right. It's so crazy. And you just, especially if you watch it the way I did, you were asking me questions this morning. I'm like, I knew that because the whole time I was watching it, I had the wiki open. So like any questions, I'm like, when did this happen? Who was this person?
See.
I was writing things down like a conspiracy theorist weirdo.
Oh, she's got some amazing notes. I've been raw dogging it and yelling into my notes app, and I have the most unhinged notes. It's ridiculous. It's really
That's
nuts.
awesome. Both of us
Yeah.
are crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So last episode was seasons 1 through 3, and there was a lot going on
There's a
there.
lot.
And
Yeah.
so, can you recap for me?
Oh, God.
Can you recap for me what happens in the last episode of season 3?
What was that last episode?
Is that the one where the fader,
The fader.
the
The fader. We're
freighter
gonna call it
blows
the
up?
fader.
Jin dies.
So Through the Looking Glass is that
Yeah.
episode, and Jack and the castaways begin their efforts to make contact with Naomi's rescue ship. Charlie is held captive in the Looking Glass, and the ploy at the beach does not go as planned.
dies. Charlie dies.
Yeah, so this is talking about episodes 22 and 23. Those are the
Yeah.
finales. So I think Charlie died in 22, and then 23
Yeah.
is the last
Yeah.
one, right?
Yeah, and that ends with, and I think that ends with the flash forward of
Jack
of
with alcohol.
Jack and Kate at the airport, and we're not sure up until that point. We're not
Right.
entirely sure what we've been seeing, where we're seeing Jack popping the pills and growing the beard. And we're like, what is going on right now? And
Because
we
up to this
don't
point,
know
it's
at
been
that point.
flashbacks.
Yeah, and we don't know at that point that Kate, still has Aaron, and so when he says, we have to go back to the island, it's like, wait, what?
Right, because
Yeah.
we don't know it. This is the first time in the show we've had anything but flashbacks. So this looks like another flashback
Yeah.
until the end when he sees Kate, and you're like, oh, holy crap.
Like, wait, what?
He got off. They got
Yeah.
off. We finally figure out they got off the island.
And they do some clever stuff with kind of hiding the Aaron reveal for a while. They make you think in a few conversations, she doesn't refer to him by name. She says, I have to get home to him. What am I going to do about him? She keeps
like
saying
Sawyer.
him, so we think it's Sawyer.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's not Sawyer. No.
Nope.
It's
No.
the baby she stole.
The
She stole
baby.
that baby.
Baby theft. Baby theft. And I feel like, so season 4 opens, and you're just like, what the heck is going on? Jack, my man, get it together.
And we broke these episodes up because season 1, 2, and 3 feel totally different than seasons
Yes,
4, 5,
I
and
agree.
6. Like seasons 4, 5, and 6 feel, and season 6 feels different than 4 and 5. Like
Yes.
they're all,
oh, absolutely.
yeah, they all have different feelings. They're still good. That I don't.
Yeah.
I still love them. They were very.
Yeah.
It's a different show.
It's a different show, and I think what happens, and I think do the Ajira people show up in season 4 or 5?
I think Ajira is season 5.
Season 5. Okay, so I won't complain about them right now.
Okay.
I'll save my Ajira complaints for
So
when-
season 4 is all about the Oceanic Six, and we're seeing all
yes,
their stuff
yes,
about
yes.
them being all their different stories about
Yeah.
now these 6 people are
Yes.
in the real world, back in
Yeah.
the real world, lying to everybody for reasons that make no sense. I mean, I understand hiding the island, but that makes no sense. All the lies they told.
I don't know
Like, all that stuff doesn't
why
track.
they lied about Aaron, because tell the truth. I mean,
right.
like
That's
like
exactly
okay,
right.
look, Claire
I
had the
know.
baby on the island, right? And we were trying to escape, or
Right.
Claire had the baby, wherever you want to lie and say you
Yeah.
were, right? It was just us, but Claire had the baby on the island, and then either say Claire died during
Correct.
childbirth,
Exactly. That's exactly right.
you know, she got an infection and she died. And then we
easy.
fed the baby coconut milk, and that worked out great, because I still don't
There
understand
was goats on that island.
about about that robust baby.
Oh
Like,
my
why
God.
did they lie? And then Aaron would probably go back to Australia,
right?
and go into
Family.
the Australian
Somebody's
care
family.
system and find, if Claire, I know her mom, we don't know that her mom is awake, right? We think her mom's still in a
Right.
coma, but think
That's
about
right.
it. They would have contacted Claire's mom, and Claire's mom would have had her grandchild instead of the 3 years of grieving she does over Claire without knowing she had Aaron, and she misses her grandson's first 3 years of his life. And then
Right.
Kate just shows up at the hotel in the middle of the night and is like, hey, so we lied. Claire's alive, I think. I'm going to go back and get her. A 3-year-old is alone in a motel room down the hall.
Right.
And he's ready for you when you're ready.
I mean, think about it. Any moms who've had kids, I mean, would your 3-year-old have just been like fine going away from you, his mom, for the first time in his life to this stranger lady he's never seen?
No. It's also
But that's one of
very
the worst things
unsafe.
they
That's
did.
not a nice looking motel.
I know. It's
Yeah.
one of the worst things they did, though, because she did meet Kate at that funeral. Was it the funeral?
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
It was Christian funeral, because that was Christian's mistress, right? Yeah, she did meet Kate at that funeral and saw the baby, and they just kept their mouth shut. Like, that was a shitty thing to do. I'm sorry.
So they knew she was, that they're like, oh, wait, Claire has a mom, you know?
Right, and they could have told her, hey,
Because I don't
you
think
can
Claire
have this
ever
baby, but
told
keep your
them.
mouth shut.
Like,
No,
I
no, Jack
never
didn't
saw
know
a
that.
scene where Claire was like, my mom's been in a coma for years and she's never going to wake up and she's in a persistent vegetative state, which
Yeah.
I don't understand. And we never get to see how the hell Claire's mom woke up from
Right.
this persistent vegetative state that she was in for years.
Yeah, we knew as an audience, but it was the first time that Jack finds out that Claire's his sister.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a lot.
Yeah, the whole Oceanic 6 is ridiculous to me. And Hurley was the only one who was like, why are we lying? Like, what's the point of it? And it sends him into psychosis because he has to keep lying, and he doesn't want to do that.
He has to keep lying, but he also is seeing his dead friends.
And whose idea was this? Jack's. Of course it was Jack's.
Yep.
Jack sucks.
Well, because, Jack's the one who just looks at them and he goes, okay, we're going to have to lie.
Right.
And why didn't somebody say, why?
I know.
Because we can't let them find the island. But they can't find the island. That's the whole problem, Jack.
Right. Not only that, but again, like you said, surely, a whole bunch of people survived, but they died, and now it's just us. I mean, why was that so hard to say? Like, I don't understand. The lie made no sense.
I don't know. So please, if you have a really good argument for the lie, if you could please help us get it, because, man, I don't.
Other than maybe that dang plane that Charles Widmore put on the bottom of the ocean, which is one of the grossest and worst things I've ever heard of in my life.
They dug up all those people, dressed them up, but who did that job?
It's just gross.
Anyway, but we get Lapidus, right? So we get lots of Lapidus, and anytime I can get lots of Lapidus, to be clear, I'm not saying Lapinus, I'm saying Lapidus. And anytime I can get lots of Lapidus, I'm there.
And I have an argument that Lapidus, you could make an argument that he's the most important person in the whole show, because he serves as, for seasons 4, 5, and 6, he serves as the god in the machine for the entire thing. Yes. And absolutely nothing would have worked that happened in these seasons without Lapidus. And he even miraculously doesn't die when everyone else blew up in that submarine, because they need him. Because he's the only one that can fly this plane. And they wouldn't have gone back without him. They wouldn't have known that wasn't a real flight if he hadn't seen that footage of the ring and the pilot. So I make an argument that Frank Lapidus is the most important person.
They get on a Jira Flight 316, and they're all sitting there, and that's all very weird. And we can talk about that in a little while. And they're like, "Hi, this is your captain speaking. I'm Captain Lapidus." And it's like, and I think that would have been, and I think they do a quick zoom in on Hurley's face, or they show Hurley's face, like, because it's like somebody in there makes a facial expression like
what?
Oh. Fuck.
Well, he comes out. That's one of the funniest lines in the whole show. He comes out and sees everybody. He's like, we're not going to Guam, are we?
And he's so cool about it. Because if I were Lapidus and I opened and it's Jack and the gang, I would have been like,
oh,
you know, I'm not feeling really well, and it's an FAA rule. If I feel like I'm going to vomit, I can't fly. Gotta go.
Right, exactly. And then
I'm not going through that again.
For all of season 6, all of it, Sawyer calls him Chesty the entire time.
Yes, and I love it. I love it. Because he's one of those actors who it just gets better with age.
Yeah.
You know, when he was young, he was
a lawnmower man.
Yeah, he was a little odd looking. There was something a little odd when he was young. He also has those like ridiculously kind of blue eyes that jump out at you. So it's a lot better when he's salt and pepper with a beard and looking a little scraggly. Yeah. I like
the chest hair. I do too. I love him. He's got some of the best lines, and he survives. And they wouldn't have without him.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
I see your
can
point.
magically fly a chopper. He can
Well,
magically
yeah.
fly, the airplane, and he can get there. He's the one that knows the coordinates, and he
Yep.
survives every time something bad happens.
Yeah, I in my head canon, Lapidus is retired military or ex-military, and that's why he can do all the things that he can do. He didn't just learn how to fly commercial airplanes,
Yeah.
because he seems way too good under fire, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Speaking of Lapidus, in season 4, we get the freighter folks, the new freighter people. So Faraday and Charlotte and Miles and Lapidus.
Yes.
And, well, Naomi
Kimi.
too, I guess. But
Naomi, she's gone.
Oh, I hate Kimi.
We hate Kimi.
God. And he won't die. He's as bad as Mikhail. He will not die.
Yep.
Oh, he's just the worst. I actually have a list of deaths here.
Yes, you do.
And Kimi's is way down on the list.
Well, it takes a really
higher.
freaking long time for him to die. And then
Yes.
and then the whole that stupid thing. Okay, let's talk about how Kimi dies. All right, so Kimi goes back from the freighter to the island, and he's got like a dead man switch thing on his arm. Okay, and see the rolling of the eyes, folks, because that's where I am too. And it's like if his biorhythm, so if his heart stops beating, that's going to trigger the freighter, all the C4 on the freighter to blow up. Okay, that starts the timer. How the F does that work? Because they have trouble getting radio signals to go back and forth from the freighter. They have to keep switching frequencies, and they're having problems, and radios are broken.
Don't ask too many questions, Melissa.
But this shit can Wi-Fi or satellite to the freighter and blow up. I mean, that was stupid. Stupid.
It was stupid. But he also had survived like 10 horrible things up to that point where they had tried to kill him. So one of my favorite episode, we didn't even talk about it last week, is Trisha Tanaka. I love
Oh, yes, we didn't talk about Trisha Tanaka. That's my favorite too.
Trisha Tanaka. It's my favorite episode, and it is honestly the best moment in the show when Hurley gets that van started and they go
and
riding
Shambhala
around.
starts playing, and they're doing don't
good.
Oh, I love that. That's your favorite too, because it's my favorite.
The reason I bring it up is because that's my favorite. But one of my favorite moments in these seasons, one of the best things that happens, is when they are in the Dharma village and they know that Widmore's men with Kimi are coming, and Ben's like, "Let me go summon the smoke monster," and he's like, "Holy shit!
I know
What just happened?" That smoke monster comes barreling through like a freight train and kills Kimi and his men, but they don't die. Up to this
but
point,
it doesn't
the smoke
kill
monster has
Kimi
killed, or any of his men.
It destroyed Mr. Echo. It flung him into trees. I mean,
and the
it
first
beat
pilot,
Mr.
remember
Echo
the
to
pilot?
death. Oh yeah, it ripped him
just
out of the
ripped him
plane,
to
and then he just went
pieces.
splat.
Right, but somehow Kimi is fine. He's totally okay.
I don't know. Maybe the smoke monster wasn't totally on Ben's side at that point. Maybe he was like, "Well, I'll go."
If we're going to
you
talk about that, I
summoned
don't
me.
understand it. What the hell? Why is he able to summon him at all? That makes no sense.
And does that mean that every time we saw the smoke monster, when the smoke monster went after Mr. Echo, had it been summoned by Ben? Or does it just do things on its own?
Right?
I think it does things on its own.
Right.
But then it can be summoned. So couldn't it just be like, "No, I'm not coming"?
But he summoned it into the Dharma camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I have that in, like, anomalies because it doesn't make sense. He
Oh,
summoned
but and the
smoke
they have the
monster.
fence outside. Well, Dharma and whoever.
Yeah,
Dharma. They had it outside to
of
keep
the camp.
And I remember Juliet says this keeps things out.
Yeah.
And she infers that it, like, even the smoke
Like a
monster.
sonar fence.
Yeah.
Or something.
So, but
now
if the
Ben
entrance
goes
to summoning it is in the camp.
No, listen. Oh my God. Ben is in his Dharma tract housing.
Yes.
Which indicates that Dharma plopped tract housing on ancient ruins. Okay. There were these obvious ancient ruins, and they just built these little salt cracker box houses on top of them.
Which had basements for some reason.
Yeah, and we don't see anything but these square boxes, yet he moves a wall aside and goes into an enormous temple. Now, I know it's downstairs, but there still you should have seen it from the outside. It was huge. And he goes down into this temple, little thing filled with hieroglyphics, and it does the water out, and he summons the smoke monster. My question is, whoever lived there before him in Dharma, did they know that was there? Did they put it there on purpose? Did they know what
that's
it was?
the leader's house, I believe. Right? So that would have been Horus and Paul before him.
Right.
They knew there was this extremely powerful electromagnetic force. So that's why they were building the swan as the hatch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they were building that, and they wanted to harness that. So they knew there was something down there. Did they know the ruins were down there?
They had to, or they built the house.
But here's the other thing. Here's another. Wait, I think I had an idea. I think I had a thought. A synapse fired in the right direction. Maybe they didn't, because before the Dharma Initiative, Richard's people were the people of the island.
Yeah.
Right? The others. So maybe the whole reason the others are so salty is because the Dharma Initiative came to the island, built tract housing on top of their temples. And maybe that's why there's been a war this whole time.
You know, we do get all of that backstory. God, I don't remember what season it was in. It's got to be season 5 when they start jumping around, and we see a lot of these others, and we see in that the Jughead episode with the big bomb. So we know that there were others when we see Jacob and the Man in Black. Like the Man in Black goes to live with the others. The old, ancient others. And then Richard comes sometime in the 1800s, right? Right. And so we see Richard's now with the others. And then Widmore and these British people come and live with the others. So there's like all this little mixed group of others, right? Yeah. Then the Americans come with a hydrogen bomb. That's a separate thing that's happening on the island in the 50s.
Because that's what we were doing. We were blowing up islands in the South Pacific.
Right.
I mean,
so
we
presumably, the Americans learned about this island, and maybe that's where Dharma spun off of over the next 20 years.
Oh, maybe it was a military project.
Well, or just now some American knows. Yeah, they know it's there. So, okay, now we've got this initiative. So then Dharma comes in. But we've got Richard and these but the others are weird. We got ancient people who are presumably really old, and Richard who's really old, but also Widmore and Eloise.
Well, like Richard's the only one that's really old. He's the only one I think is conferred immortality upon.
I guess what I mean is like it's these people who've lived there since the dawn of time with Jacob. Like it's their ancestors. That's why they're on the island.
That's why they're on the island. Oh, is that what we're supposed to think? They're Jacob's ancestors?
No, I'm just saying, like, ancestors of those people that the Man in Black lived with.
Yeah.
Like, they were there
This leads me to an interesting talking point that I haven't heard people talk about Lost. So I have to readjust myself in the chair here, folks.
That's all right.
Okay, so we know, because we see Danielle's crash, and and Richard's crash, and then Jacob says something somewhere along the line about that he keeps trying, right? He keeps bringing people to the island. Okay. So there's probably other shipwrecks and balloon crashes or whatever that have happened throughout time. Right. Here's what I wonder. Why was it the people of, why is it our people? I know it's because plot, okay? But why were they the ones that finally changed everything, right? That they're the reason that Jacob gets killed, the Man in Black gets out. They was Danielle's group not strong-minded enough or fucked up in the head enough? Like, why?
I don't know. And maybe the only reason is that all of a sudden he brought so many at once, because when we get to, is it season 6 when we finally see in the lighthouse and we finally see in that cave
we see all those
on the side? Yeah. So we see in the cave in the side of the cliff, and we see in
that
the lighthouse.
Place in the yeah.
But there's names written everywhere, and the names correspond to these numbers, and a bunch of them are scratched out, presumably the ones he brought throughout the past. Maybe it's just the fact that he brought a whole bunch at once, and others were coming in ones and twos and couldn't do anything.
Maybe I don't know. It's really
But so many lost people, like so many people who watch this have tracked every single name and what number. Like you can go on the wiki and they've got every name like paused and looking at it and
Yep.
seeing. So
Yeah.
you can see all the names.
So Michael ends up having a redemption arc because when
Does he? I don't know.
I don't
Michael
know,
just
but
goes back and forth in my mind.
I know, but Christian seems to indicate. So, I mean, he does sacrifice himself because he's the one who's keeping the C4 cold in the theory that it won't blow up if it's cold, and he makes.
Does that work?
I don't know. And then, you know, he tells Jin, no, you have to go get on the helicopter with your wife, which it's interesting from a good story, like looping and closing a loop perspective, that these two people who were one of the earliest really big conflicts on the island was Jin and Michael, that in this moment, they kind of heal that.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, go be with your wife. And then, he'd like the fire extinguisher that he's using to cool it, it's the liquid nitrogen or whatever. It runs out and he's just standing there. And then Christian says to him, okay, you're done now. You can go. Meaning you can die now. Because Michael couldn't, we learn.
Well, he can't die. He can't kill himself. That's where we find out that Tom Friendly, has been leaving the island and has a boyfriend in New York.
Well, and here's the thing about the leaving
heck?
the island. That's the reason that Ben used to banish Charles Widmore from the island. Was well, you left the island and you had a kid and you did all these things. You know the rules. You're banished. And I'm like, oh, but those rules don't apply to anybody else.
Right, and I got that written down somewhere. Oh, God, here it is. Like, there's unresolved mysteries because Charles Widmore's timeline makes no fucking sense at all. Oh. And he was going back and forth off the island and somehow had a whole entire family and had a kid and somehow made himself one of the richest men on the world. Just going back. I mean, you know, that's hard to do when you got all the time, but he
has to be like Elon Musk level rich.
Yeah.
Because think about how much money, because somebody even says, do you know how much money it had to cost to create that fake plane crash?
But he's doing all that while somehow just flying back and forth between or going back and forth between this island and living like, you know, I don't know. It's so weird.
And I don't think they had the sub at that time. I don't know. I guess they had the sub. But that was before was that before or after they killed the Dharma people?
The Dharma people were killed in 1992, so it was before that because he had Penny in the 70s. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Still, his whole timeline, it just baffles me. But he sent that freighter.
I do love the one flashback with his really bad curly hair wig, but it's still the actor.
You're right.
So bad.
It is bad.
Yeah.
Well, Charles Widmore just sucks. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we got the freighter, and that was one of the biggest mind-blowing what the fuck moments when they come on that freighter and there's Michael. It's like, oh my God, even though I've seen this show, I still had forgotten again, and here comes Michael, and it just blew my mind again that Michael was there.
I love how Michael keeps thinking that somehow he's going to be able to hide himself when they first come on the freighter. He's over there like literally swabbing the deck, and he's got his head down and his hat's like really low. And I'm like, dude, you somehow think these people are going to be on this boat and not see you.
I know, and everybody was kind of like, is that Michael?
I mean, everybody's shocked. They're like, how the hell did you get? And how the hell he got there makes no sense.
Yeah, call me Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, come clean up this mess, which is blood from somebody who killed themselves.
But as we were talking
by the way, people on the freighter are killing themselves.
Yeah, just that happened. When does that happen? Was that with Desmond's time jumping? Right? Like, we learn about them going crazy because we learn about Desmond's time jumping.
Yeah.
And he needs to get Penny as the anchor.
Yes, because the other guy, who was the radio guy, is starting to go nuts, and he's trying to tell Desmond, like, so that's when we get all of that, and people are jumping off and killing themselves, and that's what we were talking about. Kimi and his stupid bio blow up mechanism, his Fitbit. His bomb Fitbit.
Bomb Fitbit. And then it finally someone kills him. Thank God, he's the worst. And that blows up Jen.
Yes.
We think.
Which is the most
worst. Two of the most horrible deaths in this whole show are Jen and Jen.
Yes!
Like,
Yes!
The
Yes!
worst.
Yes!
The most heartbreaking is when we see Jin blow up. And actually, we don't know that happened because they have this whole flash forward with Sun having her baby, and they have this parallel thing where he's running, getting the teddy bear, and you think that he's doing it for her, but it's for his boss.
Yeah, that episode is another mindfuck episode.
And then so you learn that, oh, actually, Jin is dead. They go to his grave. He's dead.
He's dead. And you notice Hurley's the only one who went all the way to Korea.
Yes, I did notice that.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, everybody else was busy?
Yeah.
Really?
Right.
Because Hurley's a good person.
That's right. I mean, Hurley's the only good person.
You think Hurley really wanted to get on an airplane again and fly to Korea?
And keep in mind, Hurley still fully, wholeheartedly believes he is cursed. Yet he still goes to see her all the way across the world.
Because it was the right thing to do. Jin was his friend. She's his friend.
We have the helicopter flying back and forth during all of this blowing up with Frank Lapidus, because he's the only one that can do it. And Sawyer, you mentioned, sacrifices himself, which I thought was pretty amazing and pretty brave until Kate decides to go see his ex, and she shits all over that and says he only did that because he's an asshole. I'm like, this is the most bitter, petty, gross.
Cassidy
I hated it.
Has issues, and I really don't think. I really think his decision in that moment was not for himself, because the implication there is everybody's thinking the same thing. Even Hurley is thinking it, because he says, I need to lose about 300 pounds. Right? Lapidus says.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking around, and you think
Hurley.
that it's going to be Hurley that's going to do it. But Sawyer knows that Hurley is a good person. Hurley is his friend. He really doesn't have anything to go back for.
Right.
Like, he even at one point said that to Kate. Like, what do you want to go back for? What are you going back to?
Yeah.
You're going to go to jail? Like, what the hell are you going back for? And he knows he doesn't have anything to go back for, so he's like, no, I'm going to... And then he tells Kate to go find Cassidy and make sure that my daughter Clementine gets this money.
Right. Kate is just being Kate and is just constantly running. Like you said, she doesn't have anything to go at for, but she doesn't know what else to do. Like, oh, I got to run towards something, which right now is off this island. And then
or
when
run
she gets
away
there,
from something.
She's still not happy. Like, she's still doing that whole thing, running and losing Aaron in the grocery store and scared.
Yeah, that's such a weird scene when she loses Aaron in the grocery store. I don't understand the point of that scene.
It was like it proved to her that it was fine to give him up because she wasn't a good mom anyway, and she knew it was going to happen eventually. Like, what are you talking about?
She's so dramatic.
Very dramatic.
So dramatic. So there's an interesting thing that we might forget to mention because we're all over the place. So season 4, because of the writer's strike, ended up only being 14 episodes. But I read that as the writers were on the writer's strike, and the producers and showrunners and everything were like, it gave them a moment to sit down and map out what the final 2 seasons were, and they decided to do it 16 episodes each season, so that means no filler episodes. So no Nikki and Paolo episodes, right?
Right.
Think about it. I mean, one of the episodes, either the first or second season, is 25 episodes long. That's so much. So we have to assume that everything that you see in seasons 5 and 6 is very intentional and not there for filler.
Yeah.
Okay. But the Ajira people. There are people on the Ajira plane that it turns out are not just random passengers on the Ajira plane.
Right.
It's people sent there by Jacob.
Yeah.
Because they know the answer to the question, what lies at the foot of the statue? I still don't know the answer to what lies at the foot of the statue.
Technically, I guess it's Jacob. Isn't that where he lives?
I think it's the temple or Jacob. I don't know.
I don't know either. And we can talk about where Jacob lives, because where the hell does he live? Because in season 4, we find the cabin. Or we see Locke looking for the cabin, I should say. And he can't find it. And Hurley's the only one that's seen it. Hurley's the only one that knows where it is. It's like, yeah dude, it's over there. I went to it, no problem. But does Jacob live in this broken down cabin? Because it's got the salt around it, so the smoke monster can't get in. That's what's implied. But then we see him living under the statue where he's weaving his little loom. That's also implied. but then he's also presumably sometimes in the temple because that's the only safe place. Where the hell is Jacob living?
And are the people in the temple, do they ever actually see Jacob? Are they seeing Jacob? Are they talking to Jacob? Is Jacob celebrating Jacob Mass on Sunday in the temple, or Friday or Saturday or Wednesday? I don't know.
And, you know, Richard acts like, yes, he has met and seen him, but it's very rare. And maybe for those people, it's very rare. But Ben is the leader of these people. He's never seen Jacob. Never, ever. Because he wasn't
it's
worthy.
Not clear that Charles Widmore ever saw him.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so
either. But Ben, I love Ben. I hate Ben through seasons 2, 3, 4. But God, he starts to be one of the best characters in the show. And he has the best redemption arc.
He does. And I hate Ben, but also we can make an argument for how Ben ended up like he is.
Yes.
I mean, it starts off with this is as a child he had tremendous trauma. Then we find out that he does not remember it, but that he was shot.
Yeah.
And
he was shot by Saeed. By the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he makes Saeed kill all those people in the future. He doesn't remember that's why he's doing it. I don't know. But anyway, they bring Ben to Richard here in one of these seasons. I think it's season 4. They bring Ben to Richard. Well, it's season 5.
Gotta be season 5 because it's after Ajira came back and they were in the 70s.
That's right. Because it's Juliet and everybody. Okay. Yeah. So they bring
because Kate must save him. She must.
And then Juliet backs her up. And I love the scene. So Kate's going to try to bring, so she asks like for help to bring Ben to Richard to try to save him.
Yeah.
And then because Juliet's like, yeah, you got to go do this. So Sawyer goes it. And I love, Kate thinks she's going to have a moment with Sawyer. As they open up the van, they're gonna get little nearly dead Ben out of there, and she's like, and she's all like, so, why'd you decide to help me? Why'd you decide to save him? And he does this really great pause where he just looks at her and he's like, because Juliet wanted me to.
Right.
And I'm like, bang, bang, bitch, bang.
Hated Kate coming back into their business.
Me too.
Like, I hated it. One of the best lines he has is, I think he's talking to Carl, like Alex's boyfriend, about getting over someone. He said, 3 years is absolutely long enough to get over someone.
He's like, I don't even remember what she looks like.
I don't care.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And I mean, I think when she comes back, he does like care for her, but I don't think he ever... No, I mean you have exes. Like, who gives a shit about your exes? After a few years, who cares?
If you see them again, you're like, oh, this is weird. He's so happy, and he says, I think it's Sawyer, not Juliet, who says we had a life here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
Yeah,
he keeps trying to tell her. He's like, this is good. It's good what we had. We don't have to, you know. Change it.
Yeah. And then he yells it at Jack or somebody. It's like and I think it's after Juliet dies. And he's like, why the hell did you come back here? We had a life here. Right. And they're all like, but we came to save you. And he's like, we did not need to be saved.
Right. But
just ruined everything.
As Daniel said, what happened happened. That's what always had happened. I got a lot about these paradoxes in here.
Yeah. But then towards the end, Dan doesn't feel that way, does he?
Yeah, well, but he still proves his own point because he doesn't feel that way, but it's still the truth.
His mother still shoots him,
and he still talks to Charlotte. Everything he says it's bootstrap. Yes, bootstrap paradoxes, absolutely. But we got off the point because we were talking about little Ben getting shot.
Oh God, sorry.
We were talking. No, that's what we were doing. That's what we do. Yeah. We were talking about little Ben getting shot, and Sawyer and Kate take him to Richard. Why they think Captain Eyeliner can save him, I don't know, but they take him to Richard. Presumably, he takes him down into the murky pool of healing wonders.
I think that, and he tells them he's not going to be the same.
Right.
Like, I want to warn you. Like, I'll do this, but he's never going to be the same, and he won't remember it. Mm-hmm. And I think that Ben lost some or all of his soul. The same thing happens to Saeed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why Ben then becomes so much of a sociopath that he can kill his own father.
But doesn't that also not make sense? Because Dogan and the translator dude torture Saeed to make sure he's not claimed. They determine that he is claimed, and so he's got to get out of here. But Ben was their leader, and he had been like that the whole time? I don't understand. None of this makes sense. But yeah, so he was abused as a kid, which also is ridiculous because I just am of the opinion that Roger Linus was an asshole regardless. He was going to be abusive to him whether that woman had lived or died.
No, yeah, that was not going to be a good situation.
So he was abusive to him because mom died, and then apparently Ben turned into a sociopath after that. Yeah. And then he grew up to be a terrible person trying to rule these others.
Yeah.
And then he ends up in a war with Charles Widmore.
Yes. The big power struggle between Charles Widmore and Ben that we don't find out until season 5. And the only reason I know it's in season 5 is because I saw it yesterday. Yeah. And that's the season I'm in, is we find out that Ben is the one, and we talked about this earlier, that banished Charles from the island.
Right.
Because and so that's why
going back
Charles is mad at Ben.
He's mad at Ben.
But,
so he's the one who sends the men, the freighter. Charles is, and isn't it only because they turned off something so he could find it, right? Because he's been looking for it all this time. They turned off something, and all of a sudden he could see
something. But why was the freighter? I mean, has he just been sending freighters into the South Pacific to wander all this time?
I don't know.
Like, he has constant freighters out wandering.
Well, you know that like Penny had people like in the Arctic.
Yes.
Looking as well for Desmond. Yeah. I mean, so probably, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So they just happened to be out there, and Michael just happened to be on the freighter at the time that this signal could finally get through.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe when they blew up the hatch, maybe that sent out a...
That's what it was. Yeah,
it was when signal.
That's what it was when everything started flashing. Yeah, they could get a bead on the island, or maybe not. I don't know. I forgot. I've forgotten as well.
Anybody in the comments?
Or was it when Charlie turned off that switch? That was when they were finally able to see it.
But they were already out there, though.
Yeah.
And Naomi was already there.
Already on the island. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I forgot. I remembered when now I forgot.
Yeah. So speaking of the people on the freighter, you've got Daniel Faraday, who I love, absolutely love, and is also a terribly tragic character.
He is.
Miles and Charlotte. Daniel and Charlotte, it's just so tragic.
It is.
I'm not saying that Miles doesn't have, he's got his own journey. But I mean, Daniel, when Eloise in the past shoots Daniel, and she's the one who tells him that you absolutely have to go to this island. Because Charles Widmore is like, hey, I've got this expedition and I want you to go on it. And he's the one who was funding Daniel's research that accidentally killed a girl because Daniel has been researching time travel. And he sends a rat in a little bit into the future. But then he accidentally fries a young woman's brain. In the process of doing his experiments. And it seems like maybe he fried his own brain because he's very, very confused off the island. But when he gets to the island, he starts to, and even Charlotte comments something about that, like, his brain is, like, working again.
Yeah.
So I got to know, what was the trip like with Daniel from when you got on that freighter and he was all wacky brain Daniel?
Yeah, he's kooky. He's a weird guy. I love Daniel as well.
I love Daniel. And then his mother shoots him because she doesn't know. And then he says to her, you knew.
Because she's the one who sent him back. She made sure he went back. So that's one of the bootstrap paradoxes that happens. She shot him. He's only there because she sent him there. He wouldn't have gone if she hadn't encouraged him to do so. Because he was kind of having a breakdown before that point.
Yes.
Like he was crying, seeing the footage of Oceanic 815. And she was like, you got to go.
Yeah, he hadn't been okay since the accident. that with
Right.
with his girlfriend. And so now we can go back to something that happened in the previous seasons. The woman that Desmond has the conversation with, who he's buying the engagement ring from, is Eloise Hawking.
That's
Why
right.
the F she's in a pawn shop jewelry store, I don't know. But
we
she was
find
there.
out throughout all these episodes, Eloise is one of the only ones who is always aware of what's going on in these time jump type things. So in this time jump, she was aware with Desmond of what was going on. In the afterlife flash sideways, she understood what was going on when they were getting back and forth to the island in 2007. She was one of the only ones who knew what. So Eloise is like very aware.
She explained
in
it all
time.
to them, and I wonder if this is a so when they go, Ben gets them all together and Jack gets them all together because they all have to be together to go back to the island, and then they go to the church that they go to in the finale. And Eloise is in there, and there's this funky big pendulum thing that's inscribing
Is she wearing
something.
a cloak or something like that?
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, she's and the whole room is like candles. It looks like it's like a Catholic church. Like there's so many candles. And by the way, I'm Catholic, so when I say Catholic church, I remember when we used to have candles everywhere. Now we're not allowed to have that. But anyway, we just have little flickery lights. It's not the same. So she's got all these candles, and she's wearing a cloak. So is she part of a secret society, or is this information that is passed down from generation to generation? Why does she have to wear a cool looking cloak? If there were no candles and she was just perhaps wearing a t-shirt and jeans, would it not tell them where the island is?
Also, it presumably know to that she's not part of the secret society, because she didn't know any of that when she was living on the island all the way up through her 40s and 50s. So she's learned all this as she's gotten back, probably through a lot of her son's experiments, probably through a lot of Charles's, experiments as well. I mean, I just don't. It's stuff they found out. So
she says there's
she's not
people
some
have been
mystical-
looking for this island for years.
Right. Charles has, and
I
so
guess,
he's
is that just Charles? Is that Charles's
Probably.
little?
Yeah, and she's part of that, since they were, as you just learned this morning, they were the parents of Daniel Faraday.
See, I can swear that in the past, I have asked if
Whoever
Charles
told you
Widmore
that
is
screwed you
Daniel
up.
Faraday's dad,
Yes.
and they were like, "No!" Like I was
Yes.
stupid.
Eloise
today,
Hawking and Charles Widmore are his parents.
and I'm assuming they were banging on the island.
Yes,
because
so
we know that Charles Widmore has a whole other family.
So in
'Cause he
that
has Penny.
episode where she shoots him, and it's the Jughead episode, right, where
Yes.
they find the hydrogen bomb, she shoots him. We learn from Richard that they have been having a relationship and that she's pregnant.
She's pregnant.
So we learn that there. And then there's several other episodes where they talk about it. They talk about it when he's funding his schooling. And
Yeah.
some of that in that episode where we see he's having like a breakdown. And then at the end, when we're in the afterlife episodes, they are married and Penny is his sister. And he talks about Penny being his sister. So yeah. Charles Widmore is his dad.
I don't know why
Somebody screwed you up.
Somebody
telling you
screwed
that.
me up, and
That's so
this
funny.
morning I'm watching an episode, and I was doing some work, and I was listening to it.
Yeah.
And I caught it. I finally caught it
Yeah.
when she's like, "I sacrificed my son," and he says he was my son too.
Right.
And then she slaps him, and I actually rewound, and I was like, So I texted Liza. I was like,
Yeah, and like I said, I had the wiki open the whole time, so I caught that in those first times.
So do you think that Daniel's unique understanding or ability to see things in a physics perspective is because he was conceived on the island?
That's a good question. I don't know. He's obviously very special, right? Like there's certain special people. We have Desmond, we have Hurley, and we have Daniel for sure. And I mean,
And Michael, because Michael can't
and
die.
Miles was also conceived and born on the island. He's got
Yes.
special abilities as well.
And Charlotte.
And Ethan could Hulk out. I'm just kidding.
Ethan. Oh yeah, we have to talk
Creepy.
about that because that's the whole first episode where we like LaFleur is another one of my favorite episodes.
Okay, yeah, when we find that they've been living in was it 77?
77. So everybody's been so there's a lot of time. The flashes are happening. The flashy time
basically,
travel thing.
During this whole issue with the helicopter and the freighter, Ben decides he's going to move the island.
Yes.
That's the only solution here. I got to move the island, and I'm going to turn a frozen donkey wheel of time. It's the most absurd. This is the most absurd ancient time-shifting tech I've ever heard of in any kind of... We got this frozen donkey wheel. Mm-hmm. Makes no sense. And he goes and pushes it about half an inch, and all of a sudden, the island disappears. Now, I haven't... It makes me so mad as someone who loves geology. I have a whole entire, rant in my notes about...
Oh, about how that... is not. Oh, you like geology too? I didn't know.
Oh
that.
my god, I love geology.
Yeah, that's a volcanic island, which means that it goes down pretty far.
Yeah, so if all that happened, he turned and the island goes bloop. That's all that happened. It went bloop, and there's just this little ripples on the water. That would have caused shockwaves. It would have caused tsunamis. It would have caused tectonic plate shifting. It would have caused a weather phenomena. But no, it just bloop, and everything goes away. Okay, so
stop applying science to Lost. But yes.
So then we start
islands
jumping.
Are not floating.
Right.
They're not
we start
floaties.
Jumping around, and I actually put in...
Because Ben fucked up. That's why. Because it's not... He was supposed to push it like a notch. Like a full notch.
Or
and
something.
he didn't. It got stuck, and it's only half...
And presumably that's what the polar bears were to turn this damned wheel. In this 10 by 10 room. Anyway, who cares?
How do you make the polar bear do it, though?
Apparently they didn't. They let him go in the jungle. So if in my notes, number 9 is island time jumps. I wrote down every year they jumped to. So they jumped to pre-crash where Locke sees Yemi's plane.
Yeah.
He sees the plane crash. And then we jump to where Locke is shot by Ethan.
Yes.
So post Dharma. So Ethan's still there. Then we jump to 2004 where Faraday visits Desmond inside the Swan Station and gives him a message. And all of a sudden Desmond remembers.
It's such a cool scene.
He's like, oh, I just remembered something that happened to me.
The information time travels into his brain. And Penny just rolls with it.
She's like, alrighty.
She's like, but you're not going back to that island. He's like,
right.
I won't go back to the island, but I have something I have to do.
I gotta do something. So then it jumps to 1954. And that's where Sawyer and Juliet start getting attacked by these flaming arrows that come from Charles
Do you remember
Widmore.
the flaming arrows? Yes.
I remember so strange.
Yeah.
Then we jump to it's nighttime, and Locke sees the hatch light. Oh, come on.
Yes. Yep.
Right. And then we jump to September of 2004, where Sawyer watches Kate and Claire in the birth scene. And he just
it's a beautiful scene. He Josh Holloway did some really good acting in that scene.
Yeah, and he's
with just his face.
Because at that point he still loves Claire.
Yes,
not
he's
Claire.
not in love with Juliet.
Not Claire. He still loves Kate very much.
He loves Kate, but it was always very clear to me. It was always very clear to me. It was always very clear to me, and I think I did talk about it last week. How he treats her like she's his little sister. He feels very protective of her. So that was
very
moment.
Emotional to him.
Yeah.
And then we jump to 1988, where Jen meets the French science team. So Jen hauls his burnt ass out of the water from being blown up once again.
Also, the first time you saw the show, you were like, you did not know that was Jin. And they're like, let's try to get this person. And then they pull him onto the, and you're like, oh my God, Jin's alive.
This is the second time that Jen got blown up in the water. And had to be hauled up. Like, poor guy.
So true.
And so he's in 1988 with French-speaking people. And it's a young, absolutely stunning Danielle Rousseau.
Oh,
yeah. And again, last week we didn't talk about her. We still haven't talked about her.
We have to talk about Danielle.
I love Danielle Rousseau.
Because I have a lot to say about the actress that plays her and the character.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And then it jumps one last time to ancient times where Locke has broken his leg into pieces, and it grosses me out. And he meets Christian Shepherd down in that hole with the donkey wheel.
Yeah, and Christian's like, no matter what, you have to... Oh, remember when... Because he goes down the well. So, they knew they had to find the well to get to the donkey wheel in the past. He's going down the wire when they time jump. And Sawyer's like trying to start digging. And Juliet's like, James, stop. James,
and that rope's just
not
going to
work,
the
babe.
Solid ground. Yeah. And so Locke is just down in that hole with a broken leg, and he jumps also to Tikrit. Isn't that where they... Or no, they don't jump to Tikrit.
No, not to Tikrit. They show up somewhere in the desert. Apparently the exit, it doesn't exit to the gift shop. It exits to the desert in war-torn Middle East.
Right.
It's not as much fun.
And that first, and this is also something that really bothered me, and I don't even think I put it in my notes, but one of the first things that Ben does when he lands in that place is shoots a bunch of people and then takes off his keffiyeh and takes off the guy's keffiyeh and tears it up and uses it as I'm like, just gross.
That is just so wrong, Ben. I mean, you're horrible.
So
He knows better. Anyway.
Yeah. He might not. He's kind of sheltered. He's been on that island.
Oh, that's true. He did grow up on that island. He might not be up to date on the Muslim significance of these things.
Yeah, so then we have everybody living finally in 1977. We have LaFleur. Everybody's well, actually, I guess they jumped to 1974, and they lived there for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they save. They kind of. I don't understand why. So Paul at the time is the leader of the Dharma Initiative compound. He's not the science stuff, just the people
leader,
in charge of security. So he's the leader, but he takes his wife out for a picnic outside of the fence,
right? With the
hostiles, and then Richard's hostiles shoot him.
Yeah. And we're never really clear on why the hell there was a war between Dharma and these people in the first place.
The only thing I can think of is because the fence keeps the Dharma people from getting to them. No, that doesn't mean keeps the others, but the others don't want the black smoke.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Other than just there's people there. We don't want these people here, these Americans here. They didn't have good times with the Americans in the 50s, so maybe they're just like, we don't like these guys here.
We don't like these
people. I get it.
So they do a whole...
I understand.
Yeah. Sawyer does a whole Sawyer thing and gets them, like, that they're going to be allowed to go on the sub. It's like, look, you can't stay here. We thank you. Horace is like, look, thank you for what you did, but you guys can't stay here. There's a sub leaving tomorrow. You guys got to be on that sub. So that's the thing. They're going to get off the island. So that is, so who's back there at that point in time? It's Juliet, right?
Sawyer.
It's Sawyer.
Jin.
It's Jin. Mm-hmm. And who else is stuck back in time with them? Is it just the three of them?
I think so. I think it's just the three of them. At that point,
and Daniel.
Those 3 years. Is it?
Daniel. Yeah, Daniel's with them. Daniel and Miles. Miles and Jin work for Sawyer, and Daniel goes back to the mainland.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah,
that's right.
So they negotiate that. So they're supposed to all get on the sub the next day. Meanwhile, no sub.
Was that Locke's fault?
That was Locke's fault.
Everything's Locke's fault.
But in the meantime, before the sub blew up, Sawyer's trying to make an argument for, let's just go back to our beach. I don't want to go. We'll just go back to our beach. And Juliet's like, I have been trying to get off this island for 3 years. I'm getting on that sub. Yeah. And Sawyer says, who's going to have my back, which is a little thing they got going on between them. And he talks her into staying until the next sub comes.
Yeah. Which they just stay. Can you imagine though? I've thought a lot about it. I'm like, what if they did leave? And they have you thought about like what that would be just to go live in 1974? It'd be so
I think they would have done great.
Yeah,
because they would have known so much stuff.
Just, yes. So we do see when that episode with Paul, Amy and her husband Paul.
Yeah.
And he's wearing this Ankh necklace. And that's what she keeps. That's what makes Horace mad later on.
Yeah,
when he finds it. But is that significant? Because we see that four-toed statue during Richard's episode. It's shown fully intact, and it's like the goddess Taweret, and he's got the Ankhs. It's holding two Ankhs.
We're supposed to believe or understand that the temple and everything is ancient Egyptian people.
Yeah, I mean, did Paul know that? Like, why does he have that
How did they get
Ankh?
there? Because he's in the Dharma Initiative. He's not a hostile. Why is he wearing an Ankh? Or is it just like a weird ha, they don't realize?
Yeah,
I mean,
don't know.
I had an Ankh necklace in the 80s because it was
cool.
it was.
So maybe.
But she kept it like it meant something.
And then Horace just moves in and he's like, hey, we should make babies.
Yeah, Horace didn't wait too long, did he?
He did not.
He did not. So they don't leave. So, but we don't. I would kind of like to have seen kind of the interim 3 years, but we don't get to see that. But then the next time we see them, Juliet's a car mechanic working for the Dharma Initiative, and Sawyer is LaFleur.
Yeah,
James
he's the
LaFleur.
he's kind of he's not their leader,
he's
but
head
he's
of
kind of their
security.
leader, right? Like,
He's head of security, so
yeah.
he's like second in command almost.
Yep.
Yep.
And they have seen little Ben come in, and they just don't care. They're like, I don't care.
They're like, they
my
know
favorite
Roger.
thing. He's like, yeah, cute kid. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's just we're not gonna. Yeah, and they build a life. They build a life. Juliet doesn't deliver babies anymore. She didn't. Apparently, she never told them she was a doctor, and they put her in the motor pool.
Yeah.
They didn't make her a janitor.
Right.
And, you know, Sawyer and his gang, and they become this part of the security team, and they're doing fine.
They are. Until Kate comes back. I'm sorry.
But they have been searching for their people because they don't know what happened to everybody.
Right.
So they have been for 3 years doing grid searches of the island. Miles and Jin have been participating in the grid search.
But have they? Because they never come across Rose and Bernard, who are just out there. They're not hidden.
I know.
And they're just out there living. So I don't know if they've really been searching hard.
It doesn't. I'm not. I mean, I don't know how long. Yeah. Anyway, but so they're kind of like, well, we didn't forget you. We were looking for you, but meanwhile, we built a whole life.
Yeah.
And so Juliet. So now we're you know, right before everything goes to shit, and we're seeing that Horace's wife goes into early labor. Horace, meanwhile, and that's what happens, how LaFleur starts, is Horace is out there blowing shit up over by the fence, and he's drunk, and they're like, Horace doesn't even really drink. What's going on? And then Amy ends up going into labor 2 weeks ahead of time, and here's the thing. They said... the doctor doesn't deliver babies, right? That's just like a regular doctor. And they're like, our women usually go to the mainland to give birth. So she was scheduled to get on the sub and go, which I don't think that a woman who's like 38 weeks pregnant should really be on a submarine.
Yeah, they didn't.
Because there's pressure involved in being on a submarine. You're not supposed to fly after, what is it, like 32 weeks, 36
Yeah,
or
but
something.
the men who wrote this weren't really up to date. They wouldn't have put Claire on that plane. They wouldn't have put her on
I mean, Jack does ask her. He's like, I'm surprised your OB was fine with you. Oh, yeah, she had no problem with it. No, she never saw a doctor.
Right.
For all we know, and from what we've seen, she didn't get any prenatal care, quite honestly. But anyway, so the baby's breech, it's gonna die, yada, yada, yada. They have to do a C-section, and then, you know, LaFleur, James, is like, come on, you gotta do this. You gotta do this. You can't just... And she's like, but I don't deliver babies. Bad things happen on this island when I deliver babies. And so she successfully does a C-section of the new baby boy, who is named...
Ethan. Creepy Ethan. He's named Creepy Ethan.
So she
How's
helps
his full government name? Creepy Ethan.
She brings Creepy Ethan into the world. And when that's another great moment. She comes out of that room and she's so like she's crying and Sawyer's like, what? And she's like, they're fine. And then he's like so proud of her.
Now, mind you, the very last surgery she had done was an appendectomy on the beach.
Yeah.
On Jack with a flashlight and a dentist.
Yeah. Yep. Poor Juliet just never gets a simple case, you know?
Because it seems like every show has to have an appendix episode.
Yeah, and so we find out that he that night, you see Sawyer go home, he picks a flower, he's all 70s with his hair behind his ear, and he goes home, and she's like, is that for me? And he gives her the flower, and then they hug each other, and then she says, I love you, and he says, I love you, and that's how we find out that Juliet and Sawyer are together, and we're all like, aww, and then it's like, oh, fuck, Kate.
Yeah, exactly. And Jack, because he had this weird thing for Juliet. Like, just stupid. Leave them alone.
Leave them alone. And unfortunately, Juliet is insecure still. And we find out that Sawyer was going to propose. There's an engagement ring that was hidden under the floorboards in their house. Right. And if that had happened before Kate and Jack and everybody came back to the island, I think Juliet would have felt more secure.
But after 3 years, and like, I feel like that was just a writer's thing, because I think a woman would have known at 3 years, hey, he's with me and he is not with her. Anyway, like, I mean,
we've built an entire. I think so. It was stupid. It was just to keep that whole love quadrangle going, and I didn't like any of that.
Some of the best lines though come from when Jack gets back, and what did Sawyer say to him? He said when he comes in, like Jack comes into his house, like. And he first sees that, oh, you're living with Juliet. Oh, okay. Sorry,
and Sawyer's sitting there reading a book.
Right. And he tells him, he's like, that's how I like to run things, Jack. I like to think. I'm sure that doesn't mean much to you, because back when you were calling the shots, you pretty much just reacted. So you didn't think, Jack. And as I recall, a lot of people ended up dead. I'm like,
yes. Every time. Yes.
Because as I said last week, Sawyer is actually one of the most mature characters like on the show. He actually has a lot of thought
practically, because survival is about practicality. You learn how to be practical when you're surviving, and sometimes practical is not legal or ethical, but it is practical. You know, you do what you got to do to survive is a practical mindset.
But just to an absolute irritating point, Jack does just react like everything. He's like, I gotta run off in this direction. It's incredibly irritating after a few episodes.
It is, and then the whole Kate doing whatever you tell her not to thing is just continues. It's like, well, some things have never changed. Yep, some things have never changed. Yeah. All right, so we said we were going to talk about Danielle, and then we forgot to talk about Danielle, and I don't want to forget to talk about Danielle again.
That makes sense. That makes sense. We did that.
Yeah.
Danielle's one of my most favorite characters. From the time she comes in when she kidnaps Saeed, she's just amazing. And I think well written, and I think well played, because a mother who loses her newborn would absolutely lose her mind like that.
And she's alone.
Yeah, she's
alone. She had to kill her lover. I'm not sure if he's her husband, but the father of her child. She had to kill him because he was infected. She loses her whole team. Okay, and some like the one guy, his arm gets ripped off when he goes down the hole when Jin is with them, and it's whole, and the actress playing Danielle, adult Danielle. No, she was an adult. Whatever. Older Danielle is named Mira Furlan, and
she's passed away.
She has unfortunately passed away, and so she was on one of my all-time favorite shows, Babylon 5.
Oh, was she?
And it's one of the few American things she did, and it was because they hired all of these people who were extraordinarily good actors that nobody knew, and so I think she was. I don't want to get the nation wrong, but I think it was the Czech Republic, I think. Okay. But where she is from, she is essentially equal to an Oscar-winning actor.
Oh, I guess so.
So she
is amazing.
Extremely talented.
Yeah.
And she has this ability, and I think this is why, like in Babylon 5, like for the whole first season, she's wearing a lot of makeup and prosthetics, but she still has some prosthetics going on after that. So she has to do a lot with just her eyes.
Oh, yeah.
How she moves her head. Like she creates characters. And she created Danielle Rousseau. Yes. And I don't think anyone else, because there's such a, she has this like, this way of conveying tragedy and pain in a very constrained, not like she's not overly crazy. Like she's crazy, but she's not overly crazy. She's traumatized and hurt, but not
and
like
a little
overdoing
it. Scary, right? She's a little, without doing a whole lot. She's a little bit intimidating and a little scary without really overdoing. And we talk a lot about in this show if stuff's believable or not. Her whole character is believable. The way she plays it is really believable. And she's just, even though she's been out there in the jungle, like honestly, Claire has been in the jungle for 3 years. She looks rough. Danielle is just gorgeous. This woman is absolutely so beautiful. Yeah. And she's been out there. She also, like Claire, has been looking for her child, and she's scared, and she wants her child back for 16 years.
And if you think about how the island fucks with people,
Right.
they've probably she's probably been hearing a baby cry. Like, I'm sure that the island has been screwing with Danielle.
But she
and that's why she becomes
did not
increasingly
become like Claire, though, right?
No.
Like, she didn't go that direction. So she is very methodical in what she does and her traps and how she lives.
That's how she lives. She says to them at one point, that might have been in, well, obviously it was before she died, that
not necessarily.
They're about to get into a fight with like Ben's gang.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, no, I'm going away. And they're like, what do you mean? And she's like, I've survived 16 years on this island by not getting into situations like this. Bye-bye. Right.
Yeah,
she's like, I'll help you get the dynamite, but now I'm out of here.
Yeah, just like Rose and Bernard, they're like, we don't always have to go running towards the danger, you weirdos. Like, shit,
yes,
that's what she's like. I'm not
that
staying
scene.
with you.
I love when they finally they find Rose and Bernard, and we find out that they did all the time traveling too, and they're living happily ever after on the island. And she's like, "Oh, let me guess, Jack's got a gun, and then you have to go running off into the jungle." We don't do that.
Yeah, that's what Rousseau says. She's like, "I'm not going with you. I know what you're doing. I'm not doing any of that." And finally, the most beautiful thing is she finally gets to see Alex. And they look identical. I don't know how they found another actress that looked so much like her, but holy shit, they look identical. And it's so heartbreaking when she gets to see her.
She gets to see her, and she does that thing that Mira Furlan does with her face, where it's like, what is she doing? But she's breaking my heart right now, but I don't even see what she's doing.
You can see all her emotions without her really...
It's
Ben
just her
does
eyeballs.
That too. Yeah,
yes.
The actor Ben also
the actor
does
who plays
that.
Ben is phenomenal at that. Phenomenal.
They don't really
eyeball
say
acting.
or overact, and they show so much. And
I guess it's micro expressions that they're doing, but like I think that might be what separates great actors from good actors.
Sure,
is the ability to do the things that we don't see that you're doing, but you're still making me cry my eyes out.
Right. And then she just has the most unceremonious death in this show, and it is shocking because it is just such a throwaway death. It's like, oh my God, you just got your child back, and they just shot you and left you.
And it's a 1-2. So for Alex, Carl, her boyfriend, who she has been fighting to save through all of this, arrow. It's an arrow, right?
I don't.
Or is it a gunshot?
So I think it's like she gets gunshot.
It's a gunshot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Down, and she's like, oh my god, and within a minute,
Rousseau says, we have to go now, and she grabs her to run away,
and she gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
And now Alex is alone
because it was Keeney's people who got them.
She's alone in the jungle, just horrible. And then that poor girl can't even get any kind of happily ever after because
Ben sucks. Because Ben sucks, and Kimi drags her back in front of the Dharma houses, the tract housing, and they have had this big shootout. And he's like, nope, got your kid. And Ben's like, I don't care. Shoot her.
Yeah, because Ben, in his hubris, that is a Greek tragedy moment where hubris comes into play big time. He is so confident in his egotistical mind that Kimi will not. He's like, go ahead, shoot her. She's not really my daughter. She doesn't mean anything to me. And Kimi's like, okay. Boom.
Awful. I cried in that I cried twice in that episode. Just awful. And Ben says he changed the rules, meaning Charles Widmore. So they had this weird, stupid war where they had rules, I guess, and he changed the rules. And that's when he went and summoned the smoke monster, which is just the best
so maybe
thing
that's
ever.
where he's like, well, if Charles doesn't have to play by the rules, I can go summon the smoke monster now.
But yeah, that was awful. And but it really did. It was really the first time in this whole show that we saw Ben actually have an emotion, a human emotion.
Yes.
He really did love Alex, regardless of how awful he was. He loved her. She was his daughter. He'd raised her from newborn.
And we see in the flashbacks that he was sent when Charles Widmore was in charge of the others. He sent. So Danielle and they crash, right? And Danielle's left. Danielle has had the baby. That Widmore sends Ben and
Ben and Ethan,
others, Ethan, whoever, to go out into the jungle find her and kill her. Well, Ben comes back with the baby, and he's like, well, you didn't tell us she had a baby. And Widmore's like, what the hell? Kill the baby, you know? Right. And that's when Ben is like, no.
Yep.
No. And that's how he ends up with Alex. He didn't kill Danielle, and he took her baby.
Yeah, he's just
Which
broken.
I don't understand why he didn't just be like, couldn't find her. Because he didn't kill Danielle. Why did he take the baby?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just
I don't understand.
He's a weird person anyway.
Anyway, yeah, so that is heartbreaking.
But that's how we get Ben's redemption arc in his afterlife timeline,
Yes.
his alternate timeline, where he becomes a teacher, and he is her teacher and her mentor, and meets her mother, and she's like, you're like a father to him.
Yes,
to
and
her.
you get to see what Mira Furlan really looks like, because I had only ever seen her on television either
Heavily
looking like
made
an
up.
Mbari or looking
Feral.
like covered in dirt with her hair.
God, she's gorgeous. I swear.
She's beautiful. Beautiful.
And so that was his redemption, where he was a dad to Alex in the afterlife. But
I know we're not at the finale yet, but just to kind of a little bit wrap up Ben's arc, is the other thing that shows tremendous growth for him is when they all show up at the end to the church, and it's time for them to go on to the next whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's Hurley and Locke are like, you coming in? And he's like, he knows he's not ready yet.
Yeah, Hurley tells him he was a good number 2, and he like, gives him that. He's like, you were an excellent number 2.
Yes.
And Ben sits outside to work on his guilt. He's not
He's not
done
ready
with
yet.
his guilt yet, and he sits outside to work on it because he knows how horrible of a person he was.
But here's the thing that's a little
Awful
stupid
person.
about that. So on the one hand, I love that touch from the writers, but on the other hand, we were told, not on the show, but we were told that they didn't all die at the same time and go to that church to go to the afterlife. They have died throughout time, all different times, and so this place is like a holding place for them to all meet up. And so why did Ben have to wait?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the rule, then Ben should have been there, because we're either supposed to think Ben is never going to work out his issues in purgatory or the sideways or whatever that is.
What I think is that church specifically was just for these people, and Christian Shepherd says this was the most important time in your life. Ben wasn't really a part of that. He wasn't really a part of that time with those people. It wasn't necessarily he was part of that and they were part of his. So I think his is just a separate
He has a separate place.
Yeah, he has a separate place.
He has a separate
maybe with
place
Alex
where Rousseau and Alex.
Right. I just think it's different
Carl's
for him.
There. Okay. All right. So maybe there's like one with some of his other friends, like the others, and okay, maybe Ethan
so we
and
can
Goodwin.
kind of start moving towards season 6 and wrap these kind of up. You know.
Season 6.
There was some funny, there was some hilarious things in this though. In season 4 and 5, things that I found hilarious in the moment.
Oh my god!
There was a time when Locke and Ben were down in the orchid, and he told Locke to watch this video, and in the video it's saying, "Do not put metal in the vault," and Ben's just like shoving forks and toasters in there, and Locke's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, that's the best thing.
I love that. I also don't understand it, but I loved it because it was
so
really funny.
And the moment when Hurley throws a hot pocket at Ben when he comes in his house.
Yes.
Oh my
God. I love
God.
that Hurley, back in the past, Hurley's like, well, I'm going to write Empire.
Star Wars, right?
I'm going to write Empire Strikes Back, because Star Wars came out in 1977. So Hurley's like, I can help George Lucas out. I can just, write the sequel for
help him out. That's right.
That was really cute. And then
my God.
It's cute that Hurley, when they go back in time, he gets assigned to work in the kitchen, and he absolutely loves it. And it shows me that, you know what? Why did we try to get off the island again? Because why didn't we just stay in 1977 and be happy?
Right.
Because you could have been.
You could have. Exactly.
You could have. You didn't have to get off the island. I mean, you're going to get gassed to death when little Ben Linus grows up.
But you got
you've got time.
you got about 15 years before that.
Yeah.
happens. Maybe you can go on a picnic that day or something.
Yeah. Something.
So what was your biggest mind-blowing moment for season 4 and 5?
Jeez, just put me on the spot.
There was a lot. I mean, we've talked about a bunch today. Like,
there was a
seeing
lot.
Michael, Ben summoning the smoke monster.
Finding out that Jin wasn't dead.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big moment. For me, the fact that they ended up living with the Dharma Initiative for 3 years was just like, oh, wow. Like, that's just really cool. So I don't think it was like an oh shit moment. It was more of that's cool moment.
There's so many in these 2 seasons specifically. I think the biggest one was Juliet falling into the drill site.
Oh God. See, I'm going to see that this afternoon if I watch Lost. And I'm doing the same thing I did with Charlie. I start slowing down it. Because
so her falling into
Don't
that.
you let go. Don't you let go.
Her falling into that drill site and then actually detonating the bomb, which Miles realizes was the incident and not the solution the whole time. That's like the biggest, for me, that was the biggest in a whole show.
They're like, oh God, we were the incident.
We were the incident. Right.
And that's just shows that, like, free will, predetermination. Did you have a choice? And that was just, oh my God, that was so bad. I think the other thing was, another one was, first there's the moment, which I think might be in season 3, when we find out that Claire isn't dead. She was in the cabin with Christian. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh,
season 4. I think she goes missing in season 3, and we find out in season 4 that she's not dead.
And she's basically like, "This is my dad."
Yeah, my dad. Well, he's fine.
That was so because she was normal right before. I'm like, what happened?
We don't ever know either.
We don't know. We don't see her get taken, and we don't know what the Man in Black did to her. Right. What did he do to her to claim her? Because
it makes it seem like, she's claimed like Saeed and Ben, but it's not the same thing. And she didn't almost die and none of that stuff.
So, are you ready for the season 6 of it all?
I don't know. There's a lot in season 6. And season 6 is different as 4 and 5 feels even more different.
I need a plushie for this.
Yeah, right. I have a bunch to choose from.
I need some comfort.
Like, there's a lot going on in season 6 because we have the island timeline, which is now 2007. Mm-hmm. And we have the Flash Sideways, which is 2004. But
because it's what if the plane landed? What if the plane never?
That's what we're supposed to think. Yeah, we're supposed to think, what if the plane had landed? But we know that's not true because we often see Desmond on the plane. Sometimes, maybe not. Maybe he's there. Maybe he's not. And we know he wasn't on the plane. So
no,
we're not sure to begin with what this is all about.
No, it's but it does very much start out like just you think that's what you're going to be watching.
Right.
When I first saw it, I was very like, oh, this is really cool because I'm obsessed with alternate timelines. Right. So that's what we think that this might like. So we're like, when you're watching, you're like, is this so this is an alternate timeline. Okay, that's cool.
But we learn it's not alternate. What it really is like a construct created by these characters. I guess their souls find each other and let go before moving on in the afterlife. So that is from seasons 1 through 5, people will say, oh, they were dead the whole time. They weren't dead the whole time.
They were not
Everything
dead
that happened. Mm-hmm. But in this Flash Sideways, they are all dead. Everyone's dead in the Flash Sideways.
I wrote in here, I understand the sideways. Yay. At the bottom of this page. Amazing. And at the top of this page, it says, I'm confused again.
Oh, no.
So we are initially led to believe that the different events that occur can be explained by the branching universe model. But then we don't find out until everybody starts waking up.
Yeah. So they're all dead on that flight. Not because they were dead from the beginning. They weren't. No. Just this is now the afterlife. This Flash Sideways is now the afterlife.
Yeah.
And they're waking up at different times. And I think the important thing that a lot of people don't understand is in this Flash Sideways, time is irrelevant. There are people who died, like Boone, within the first week of getting to the island, or the first 2 weeks. And there are people who presumably lived for hundreds of years later because Hurley becomes like Jacob. So we have to assume that he lived a full, long, maybe very long life and died. So time within this Flash Sideways is completely irrelevant.
About that.
It doesn't matter like how old they were or when they died. They just all have met here. They've all met here and are
have a
waiting on each other to
question.
wake up. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I have a lot.
So we're dead. Let's
Yeah.
just assume we're like, okay, so we're dead. And we're in this little holding spot because that's how kind of Christian describes it, as a place
Yeah,
you
the whole-
created for yourselves.
Yes.
Why did some of them create hardship and heartbreak as part of their story in the Flash sideways? Because that, to me, if that's the holding place, it's like playing Sims. And if you created a life for your sim where, Kate's she's running from the law.
Right.
Right? Why is she still running from the law? Why does the thing that happens between Charlotte and Sawyer happen?
That's the one that confuses me. Now your first question, I feel like as human beings, that's pretty much how we are, isn't it? Like, we're going to make things hard on ourselves.
But
If
are
we
we
had a
ready
hard
to
time-
move on to the
if we
next
had
level if we're still
trauma,
doing that?
We're going to relive our trauma. Well, they don't until they wake up, right? They keep reliving that same trauma until they let it go. So I think as human beings, maybe that is kind of a natural thing that we might do. But the whole thing with Sawyer and Charlotte, that was the weirdest thing for them to write in. It doesn't make any sense
the actress
at all.
looked so freaking hot.
Gorgeous, yeah.
Gorgeous. Oh my god.
Who can blame Sawyer? But still,
I know. And I was like,
that's
oh, they look
also-
good together. Yeah.
I also didn't understand that. Other than just to be like, hey, all these people are here together. Like Charlotte wasn't on the plane, Miles wasn't on the plane. Just to say like, hey, everyone is actually connected.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still, I don't.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary, but.
And there
whatever.
were some things that made sense, like Sawyer's a cop instead of a con man. And that is actually a choice that he probably could have made. Well, first of all, if he hadn't been touched by Jacob at his mama and daddy's funeral.
Right.
Because Jacob is the one who gives him the pen that he writes his Dear Mr. Sawyer letter with.
And we didn't talk about that in seasons 4 and 5, but Jacob met all these people who were candidates at really weird different times in their lives. He met Kate and Sawyer when they were little kids. He met Hurley after he'd been on the island, right?
He shows up in the taxi.
Yeah, I'm so strange. And then he met like the others, Jen and Jack and Locke at different times during their adulthood. It was just all at really weird different times
Really
in their
was
lives.
weird. Yeah. And I'm not entirely sure I understand that either. But, and then, I guess it makes sense. Miles could have become an LA police officer too. And,
Sure.
And so Claire, she gets to LA. And so there's one of the other things that, like, some things were fated to happen so much that they even happen in their sideways construct. Claire is pregnant. It all ends up through the comedy, a little buddy girl situation, that Kate is there to help her deliver her baby.
Help her out. And of course she can't keep her business, like her nose in her own business, so she has to go to that little house and help her with her adoption issues and all that crap.
Yeah.
So strange.
That was...
Yeah, and so honestly, when you're watching it the first time, you're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Why is all this happening?
Yep.
Honestly, once you know what's going on, you're still confused, but...
So was Desmond the first one to wake up?
So I argue no. In the show, yes, he's the first one that we see in the show wake up. He wasn't on that plane anyway. He was in the hatch, so he wasn't on 815. But in this alternate sideways timeline, he is. So he's the first to wake up, and he starts acting as a guide. But I fully believe that Boone is the first to wake up. We just don't see it. Boone's on the plane. He's having a really weird conversation with Locke on the plane. Is it Locke?
I don't remember. Was it?
Yeah,
Locke?
it's Locke. He has a
Locke,
weird conversation with Locke on the plane that hints that he's just like knows a little more than everybody else.
Yeah.
And then he gets Shannon to Saeed and he tells Hurley, it was hard getting her from Australia to here. So he knew even in Australia before Desmond did. So he was the first.
That's
then
true.
Desmond.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. And he's the first main character that dies on the show.
Correct. So he's been dead
the
a long
reason they killed him. So Ian Somerhalder was pretty shocked and upset.
I didn't know that.
Well, he was a series regular, right? He's on as a
Yeah.
series regular, so you think, right? And then
I did not know that.
They told him before they sent him the script
Right.
And so he talked, the producers were like, look, man, this has nothing to do with your performance, contracts, or anything. It's just that we need to establish early on in this story that anyone can die at any minute. And we decided it's Boone.
Well, that was what
because
I said
everybody loves Boone.
Everybody
right?
loves Boone. On our
episode, take a universally loved, a little annoying, but universally loved character, and they killed him. And if you remember, the first time you watch it, you're like, oh shit.
Yes, in our episode about deaths that haunted us, or whatever our episode was about, character deaths, I was like, that first season of Lost, you just realize anyone can die. Like, anyone on the show can die at any time, and it started with Boone.
So maybe he had a little more time in the afterlife, to wake up. I don't know.
And then Desmond starts acting as a really weird guide. We got to admit now, in this,
he's not real good
Desmond
at this.
was weird. He ran Locke over with his car, and then he's like, and I'll do it again.
Why did he think that? Especially because it looks like they have to touch each other.
Well,
to wake up, which didn't make sense.
Well, Jack touched Locke, and Locke woke up.
Right. Yeah, so we find, that Locke and Helen are together.
Oh.
Yeah. And they're going to get married and everything. And so he's in the wheelchair, and Jack's like, Jack lost his dad, and Locke is looking for, I guess, his box of knives, because he did go on the walkabout in the wheelchair. We don't know how that happened, but he went to Australia in the wheelchair.
I think we learn in that episode where he gets fired that it ended up the same way, that he wasn't able, because he ends up telling him, I wasn't able to go on it.
Okay. But see, there's another story of Randy friggin' fires him.
And he has a much better attitude because he grew up with his dad, right? He didn't have a horrible relationship with his dad and a foster kid and all that stuff. So he's
so a little bit more of his character. And he meets Hurley because Hurley he parks his big giant Hummer and it blocks the handicap spot, and
But honestly, Hurley is so funny to me, especially when he's driving at one point and he thanks Ana Lucia's ghost. He's like, "Oh, thank you, Ana Lucia's ghost."
Yeah. Yes.
And then at the end when he was like, "Oh, Ana Lucia's here too. Cool."
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, that strikes me as really funny.
It is.
So Hurley awakens because of Libby, and he starts helping Desmond to get everybody back.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm guessing that had to be a big shock to Hurley to wake up after who Hurley becomes in season 6.
Yeah. Because he's like you said, presumably he could have lived for hundreds of years as the caretaker of the island.
Right.
So it's like, whoa, I guess somebody else is in charge now.
Yeah. Saeed and Shannon, which I'll never understand, because Saeed's one true love was Nadia, who he married, who we see that Jacob killed, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. That was Jacob that caused her to get hit and run drivered.
Correct. But somehow Shannon is who he ends up in the afterlife with forever and ever. Now, he knew this girl for 2 weeks? I get that he liked her, but she's his forever and ever?
I think that was just a fan service moment that doesn't make any sense because, I mean, we established that, oops, sorry, hit the camera. We established that Nadia was his end all and be all.
Right.
I mean, he's even with her in the flesh sideways.
Correct.
She's his sister-in-law, but we know he's in love with her.
And she's only his sister-in-law because he feels unworthy of her and introduced her to his brother because he couldn't be with her.
Because he's a bad person or whatever. And then there's all the weirdness where so Jin and Sun do make it to LA, and Jin is trying to execute his instructions, and he ends up in a freezer. In a cold storage freezer thing, and Kimi's a gangster, and
who thankfully does get shot pretty quickly on because Saeed just comes in and shoots him, which I fully approve of.
Yes,
still hated Kimi in that. Of course, he was a horrible person in The Flash Sideways as well.
Yeah, that's just gonna stay. Yeah. And
if, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Jack was the last to wake up because, of course, he was. Of course, everything took forever to get Jack on board.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But almost last, very much almost last, is Sawyer and Juliet.
Oh, that's
so
right.
In the sideways. So Jack has a son, And we're all like,
that also doesn't make sense,
Jack
by
has a
the way.
kid, and we're like, who did he have a kid with? And then it takes a long time before we find out, because they find out at the recital that
Right.
the kid's mom is Juliet, and you're like,
That doesn't
wait,
make sense. That's the
what?
same as Charlotte and Sawyer. That makes no damn
yeah,
sense.
like just it was a way to put them
and why
together.
does he have a child? Like that doesn't make any. It doesn't make sense.
That didn't make any sense. I guess he really, one of them needed to fulfill the having a child but getting divorced.
Yes.
And then, I just realized
But that also indicates that he knew Juliet for a really long time. That kid's like 16 years old, so they've known each other for like almost 20 years. What?
But they didn't really. I mean, there's no time in the afterlife.
I don't know. It doesn't make
that
any sense
one was
to me.
weird. But yeah, I think that Sawyer and Juliet are, because I kept waiting for it to happen, waiting and waiting and waiting, because the last thing that they were talking about before she blows up the bomb, before she bangs it enough times to get it to find poor Juliet.
Damn bomb.
She's like, son of a bitch, just
right?
Fucking blow up. And they said something about going out for coffee, and said we'll go Dutch. And then when she wakes up, because they're trying to get food to come out of a vending machine. There's a really cute meet cute scene. It's really adorable. And then they get the thing to fall down, and she says it worked.
And that's the last thing she said to him before she died. The last thing she said when she died at that Swan Station was, it worked. She knew that whatever they'd done, it worked.
Yep.
And that was what she said. It worked.
Yeah. Yeah. And doesn't she say something about going Dutch also?
I think
she says something about going Dutch when they're doing the candy bar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to go
Because he
get
says,
coffee?
would you like to go get a coffee? And she's like, yeah, we could go Dutch. And that's when they wake up.
Yeah. So
and then they get, I do love the waking up scenes, because we get sort of a quick retrospective montage of their moments together that bonded them.
And
It's
we
really
didn't
beautiful.
say anything about Charlie, but honest to God, one of the funniest things that happens in this whole season is when they're on that plane and they get Charlie out of the bathroom and Jack is saving him and his hand is all the way down Charlie's throat. So you know that Matthew Fox had to have his hand all the way in Dominic's mouth.
Yes.
Like, how many times did you shoot that? That looks
Oh my
gross.
God. Yeah, that was gross and probably not fun. Not fun.
We were talking about everybody waking up, but there's also all this shit going on the island during this time in 2007, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting to see all this stuff about Jacob and this man in black. And I do believe, even though it happened so far into the show, this is where the show lost people. I do think.
Well, because there's that weird episode.
It's the next to the last episode, right? It's either the next to the
close
last or the
to
third
the
to the
end.
last. It's
You're
almost the last one.
You're all like, and then all of a sudden there's this like Greek looking woman washing up on an island, and Allison Janney is there. She's not over at the West Wing, and then this woman has twins.
Yeah.
And then Allison Janney kills her, and which brings us back to, does the island confer lactation abilities on women who have not had children? Because it seems that you can feed an infant on this island without a lactating mother.
I can't stand it.
She's got twins.
Stand it.
Twins.
Oh my God. Oh my God, I can't stand it. So she kills us. Not only that, but first off, she has the worst. I love Allison. She has the worst Latin I've ever heard in my life. It's really bad. And now I don't speak ancient Latin myself, but I'm pretty sure it's not spoken with a straight up American accent. Like, we're not just talking Latin like this. And then, I mean, the other woman who you said looks Greek, maybe it didn't sound like that either, but at least it sounded better than what Allison sounded like. Then we're all just speaking English for some reason. And so she's got these two little boys and keeps them, quarantined.
And she lies to them about the existence of there being anything other than the island
or people. There's no such thing as other people. That I don't know. And also, she doesn't give him a name. She gives Jacob a name because the mother did, but she doesn't give him a name.
Which, in my head, his name is Esau, because I went to Catholic school for 12 years.
Of course.
And Jacob and Esau, because it does a little bit
it's a little
mirror the rivalry
story
of Jacob and Esau, if you've read your Bible. So anyway.
It's just not quite as hairy.
No, he's not. Although he is a little bit furrier than Jacob, I will say. They did.
But also, don't you kind of in that episode hate Jacob, little Jacob, and big Jacob? He sucks. I mean, he just
jerk
is
off.
Yeah, and he a snitch. Like all this kid is doing is watching these people. He's like, he wants to leave.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna beat him up for it, Mom.
It's like, no, he's just curious. And I mean, he's a little mama's boy.
But
and
they
then,
also seem to indicate that she likes the man in black better. Like Jacob even says that, like, she likes you better. But I don't.
Well, I mean,
see
don't
any
we all say
indication
that
of
if you have siblings? I mean, at some point
so.
you say to your mom, "I
Really?
like him
Better.
You know, the other, you know, I don't understand so much.
Yeah.
So is the woman, who I do not believe has
Allison
a name,
or
Allison,
the mother? Okay.
Allison Janney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is she an exiled god?
I don't know. She is presumably like the protector, like Jacob becomes. Who put her there? Who put her in charge?
Now,
Is she a deity?
feel
Is
like
she a
here's
demigod?
what I think. Here's what I feel like. I feel like she's in exile.
Okay.
And maybe taking care of this island is her punishment. Because she's not a good person. So, you know, now look, if you know about ancient mythology, especially Greek mythology, but all you know,
Like
there's a
Cersei?
lot of there's a lot of not good people, right?
But I mean, is
There's
that
a
what
lot
you
of these
mean? Like
gods
she's like Cersei or like
maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know, but no, we're never going to know because I don't think the writers actually have anything more than what they told us. They confirmed it's Taweret. Is that's what the statue is of. Now that is a goddess who, you know, fertility and protecting pregnant people. So that's interesting because of the pregnancy problems on the island. We also do learn at some point that how the statue broke was Richard's ship,
yeah.
which is interesting.
Right. It is. And so Mom takes them to this glowing cave that we've never seen before. Even though this island is not enormous, we've never seen this glowing cave before, which is presumably right past the bamboo that Jack woke up in. It's just right over the bamboo.
That's what it looks like.
And but nobody can find it. But it's just a glowy. It's a glowy cave, guys. It's glowy cave.
Drink the glowy
with
water.
a cork in it.
Mm-hmm. A
And
big ass cork.
It's supposedly all the heart of the island and all of life and death. What the hell does that mean? And all it takes to destroy everything is unplug the cork. Take out the cork.
I mean, you know, that is like old world mythology when people did not realize that there was more to the world
than their little
than
corner.
just where they live, because a lot of mythology is based around, well, that all of existence is a much smaller size, right? So that something like the cork would make sense, but it doesn't make sense for the whole world.
But there were also people there that she didn't like.
Yeah.
She didn't like those people. And they were also doing experiments on the island. The weird stuff. And the man in black grows up with them.
Are they the original others?
Who the hell knows? I think so. I think that is what they are.
Because the man in black goes and chills with them.
Yeah, he lives with them from like 13 to adulthood.
Yeah.
But we see him digging a hole, the well, and installing the donkey wheel behind. You can see the glowing light. So he's presumably installing it behind this glowing cave. So explain to me, why would a wheel stuck behind a glowy light move the island and change time?
Oh, and by the way,
why
be
would
frozen.
that have anything to do with it?
Because that donkey wheel is frozen. Like literally frozen with ice. I'm not like stuck. I'm like, it's encrusted in ice.
Yeah, so what? But why would that have anything to do with, like, why would sticking a wooden wheel behind this glowing river change time and space? Like,
why would drinking the water from the glowing river make you the protector of the island? And what exactly, help me, but what exactly, so we find all that out. We get all that backstory because Jack drinks the water. So that's like, but then Jack's like, oh, I can't be the protector of the island because I'm dying. So somebody else has to be the protector of the island. So he takes like a dirty Ajira water bottle, scoops up some river water and is like, here, Hurley, drink water. Up. And I love the way Hurley's like
it's like puddle water, right? Like,
It's really gross.
Gross. Yeah.
It's gross. That is very, 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 very. The whole Jacob thing is.
But Jacob ends up murdering him. Like, Jacob is a terrible person. A weird, terrible
he murders
person.
his
He murders
mother
him
and brother.
Pushes him down into the river. And
isn't
that's how he
that
becomes Smokey.
Right, and they're Adam and Eve, though, right? That's his mother and his brother's bodies.
His mother and his brother's bodies are the ones they find in the water cave. Yeah.
But their clothing, which in that episode, because I made a note this time around, Jack says, like, look, judging by the clothing, it's about 40 or 50 years because, that's how long it would take for this clothing to degrade to this point because he's like a forensic medicine
It's been
expert.
hundreds and hundreds of years.
Thousands maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
don't know either. The whole glowing cave. I mean, I have to admit that's where Lost kinds of loses me too. Is like, guys, the glowing. Yeah. What the hell is?
So
this
yeah, that
glowing
whole
cave?
episode is just very weird.
You did mention Richard's episode, and I gotta say, out of the whole show, any of the episodes that were kind of like different, that's the best one. It's a really good episode of television.
Is such a good actor because he's had to play Richard. Richard is a very one-note character the entire time. Yeah. He very rarely gets mad. We never see him happy. He's never sad. He's just Richard. He's just there. Richard. No one knows why. Ricardo. But then his story, so good. Heartbreaking.
It is. Oh. And then it's heartbreaking when he finally, through Hurley, gets to talk to his wife again. Yes. Thank God for Hurley to be there and be able to see the dead people on the island. Which, guys, if you were confused, the Whispers are the dead people. I don't think we said that. That's what they are.
Yeah. Oh, but we find out the Whispers are all the dead
Whispers
people.
Whispers are dead people.
Yeah. And they didn't have to die on the island.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't on the island, Ben's mom wasn't on the, we could go through all that list. But I do agree. Richard's, Ricardo's whole story and the acting in that episode is amazing. And it also is just a really good look at the slavery situation that built the quote unquote new world.
The only thing that's stupid is how big was that damned wave that put him in the middle of the island, broke the statue off at the top, and then he just was plunked down in the middle of the island. But you notice that when there's a wave that big, it would have destroyed everything coming back, and it's just in the jungle. Like, it's just surrounded by jungle.
But it's maybe the island sort of grew back. I don't know.
Sure.
And like we've talked about geology, a wave that big would be a tsunami wave, which means that somewhere there was a huge earthquake, which if it did that to that island, probably would have affected Tahiti or Fiji or, and because that was in, it was like, was that the 1800s or the 1600s? I think so.
1800s, right?
Was it?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I feel like maybe the 1600s. But anyway, I think, that would have been historically that, of course, it's a television show. I understand that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So, but Richard I've now forgotten what happened at the end of that episode. So he got his life from Jacob or from the Man in Black?
Jacob.
Jacob comes down and sees him, or the Man in Black comes down and sees him? I've forgotten all of a sudden. It's
the Man in Black.
Yeah, right. It is, right?
Because the smoke comes... Wait. The smoke comes and kills everybody on the ship. And Richard is convinced that he's in hell. They're all convinced that now they've died and gone to hell. The whole reason he accepted doing this instead of execution was so that he wouldn't go to hell. And now he's like, well, great, now I'm in hell.
Ab Eterno. That's the name of that episode. Ab Eterno.
Oh, okay. The Man in Black tempts him. So he meets the Man in Black and tries to recruit him to kill Jacob.
Yep. And then
but then Richard finally confronts Jacob, and Jacob is like, "No, my brother's evil."
Yeah.
And Richard explains, I can't die. I'm going to go to hell because I killed someone. I'm going to go to hell, and I don't want to go to hell. And Jacob is like, okay, good, you'll be immortal.
Yeah. And that's where we get the first cork analogy. That's where Jacob is showing him that big old wine bottle. And he's like, this island has got a cork in it.
It's a very special island. Yeah. But how do you know, Jacob? You only know what your mommy told you.
He believed everything that woman said, though.
But he also can get off the island.
Who can?
Because we see that. Jacob. We see him touching people.
Yeah. Right. Well, I guess Richard too. We see later on Richard.
We see Richard Lee because he goes and he recruits Juliet and everything. All right. Yeah, man. So Jacob's candidates. I don't want to forget that because you put this in your notes. So all of the, like you said, when they look in the lighthouse, right? Everybody has a number assigned to their name, and number 4 is Locke. Number 8 is Reyes. Number 15 is Ford. We're on Lost Season 6 Spiderweb. Yeah, Ford is 16, Gerard is 23. I'm sorry, I got this backwards. 4 is Locke, 8 is Reyes. 15 is Ford, 16 is Gerard, 23 is Shepard, and 42 is Quan, and we don't know if that's Jin or Sun.
Right.
And those are potential successors, and those are the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
That's right. Jacob's list.
Yeah.
There it is.
Like, I know, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. But this is good. This is kind of keeping us on track a little bit here.
Actually, I don't. What number is that?
It was right on the first page of the season 6 notes, major plot threads and mysteries. It's like,
right.
There it is.
I got it.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. But wasn't Kate? She's not on here. She was crossed out
She was crossed out
for whatever reason. So
For
Kate
whatever
wasn't
reason, she was not a
part of the
candidate.
Candidates.
But Shepard was, which I find interesting. and Saeed and Ford, but not Kate. And so that makes you go, well, wait, why not Bernard? Why not Rose? Why not
and I wonder
anybody else?
I don't know. It makes me wonder. You can't say it's because she's killed people, because so has Saeed. So it can't be that.
Oh my God.
You can't be because she's a mother in case it's Son that is one of the Quans. Like it's not that...
morality. It's not morality, because a lot of questionable outside of Hurley, these wouldn't be my people I would pick.
Yeah, so who knows? I don't understand about Kate.
Yeah. So we talked about Desmond going around waking everybody up. It also turns out that he's immune to electromagnetism. What does that even mean?
It means he gets shot into the jungle naked, Melissa. That's what it means.
So who do they send? Is it him that they send down into the hole to uncork the island?
They send him down in there. He uncorks the island.
And then Jack helps him put the cork back in?
So Jack goes down there to get him, and Hurley pulls Desmond back up, so there's no way to get Jack back up.
Right. Yeah, he thinks
he's
saving
Jack,
but he actually pulls up Desmond.
And so we have no idea. They never show us how Jack gets out of that hole.
But he puts the cork back in.
He puts the cork back, but I guess that heavy dose of electromagnetism.
And then
Jack's
I think
not
he gets
immune.
shot. No, he gets shot, and isn't that how he ends up dying in the jungle in the last scene? I guess it ejected him.
Maybe. We don't see him get out of that hole. And Hurley and Desmond and Locke are not there. Not Locke. Desmond and Ben are not there anymore.
Yeah.
So we don't see how he gets out of that hole. But he puts the cork back in. They presume he's dead, which he does die, but they assume he's dead in there.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And Desmond somehow survived that.
Because Desmond survives everything. And they have this cool conversation when Hurley's the leader and he asks Ben to be his second about letting Desmond leave the island. And Ben says, you don't have to be like Jacob. You can be different. People can, you can let him leave.
Yeah.
You know? So we have to assume that Desmond just went back to Penny in his life.
I'm getting it. No, but I'm assuming that that's what happened. And Jack is the last one to die, and he makes the sacrifice. Well, he's not really. Hurley's the last one to die, technically.
Sure.
But as the show goes, that's the final scene, and the symmetry.
Yeah, him dying in that bamboo forest with Vincent. Honestly, no matter how you feel about Jack, him coming out of the forest to lay by his side, it's just the sweetest thing ever.
It really is.
So he doesn't die alone, and he sees the Ajira fly over.
Yep.
So he
He's
knows
like, he knows they're going to be safe. He did it. He did it. I protected everybody. That's what I wanted to do.
Good job,
I
Jack.
can rest now, and so that is a beautiful, beautiful ending. And so back in the sideways of it all. So now we're coming in for a landing, haha. And there's so much we have not talked about.
Oh, that's all right. We've talked about so much though.
So much. So this is the, so now the last episode is the episode. Oh my God, people were so pissed.
And you and I have talked a lot about it, not just in these Lost episodes, but previously, where I do truly think that week to week is not the way to watch this show. Watching this show week to week over years, you don't even remember what happened in those first seasons if you never went back and watched it yourself. And so by the time you get there, so many people were confused and they thought, what was it? What show was that? Was it Dallas where they were dreaming? Or
yes. It was all a dream. He steps out of the shower and he's like, I had the weirdest dream. And we're all like,
many people thought that was what happened. Oh, they were dead the whole time. No, they weren't. That's not what it was. And it's beautiful.
I think, although I enjoy a lot of stuff that happens in the Flash sideways, my opinion was that never should have been done because that confused the issue so much more.
So much. I agree with you.
So much. Because then you're like, so wait, did that stuff not happen? And it's like, yeah, no, that wasn't real. What?
When you watch it like you and I have done, just back to back to back, and you have all of this information, it's really a beautiful story. Like, it's really actually quite lovely what happens.
Yes.
But when you are not sure what's going on, the way they didn't want you to be, it's kind of annoying.
So we joked about, I think it was in our original episode.
Yeah.
And I talked about how I had imbibed some gummy.
Yeah, that's right. We should have done that today.
I thought that would help me to really experience the finale with the intention that the writers had. To some extent it did, but there's a thing about the very last scene that I don't understand. Okay, here it is. Okay.
All right.
So Christian has the whole conversation in the back room with Jack and explains everything. Right. Which, thank God that conversation happens, because that at least gives us and he's the one who says this is a place you all built because that time that you spent together on the island was the most important time in your lives. Okay. And so that's why you created this place so you could all find each other again. And so then it's like, well, what happens next? And it's like, well, you'll see, because, so they've all been mingling in the church. Oh, it's so good to see you. There's hug. It's beautiful. It really beautiful. Is. Right. And we get all people we haven't seen in a really long time, and everybody's like, it's really beautiful. But then they all sit down in the pews, right, when Jack comes out, and they face forward, and then Christian gets up, walks down down the aisle, and pushes open the doors, okay, and you see this amazing, beautiful light, but none of them stand up and they don't walk through the door. And that's every time I'm like, but what the fuck? Does this mean now that they need to spend some more time in church purgatory? They don't get to go into the light? Like, why are they not going into the light? Now, hey, guess what? You know that Flash Sideways shit? That was fun, right? Well, now you're stuck in this room, in this Catholic church. Sorry, Saeed. Why is Saeed's purgatory afterlife holding pattern not a mosque for him? Well, why is it a Catholic church?
They would throw in his Muslim background just like sprinkles, and it was annoying. Oh, yeah. Because for the most
why
part,
are the Kwans in there?
For the most part, we didn't see him ever showing that he was Muslim other than he was Arabic, and then all of a sudden
he prayed on the boat.
All of a sudden on the boat, he's making dua on this boat, and it's like, well, he hasn't done that the entire
island,
show.
That's true.
At all. And just all of a sudden, because like, oh yeah, by the way, this guy is a Muslim, like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's
I have irritation.
No, I know. It's just one of those. Those little. It's the tism in me that starts picking shit apart.
I just have to assume, like we assume a lot of stuff in Lost, that they did get up and walk out, wedding style. We're gonna do the bride's family first. And I don't know. I guess
that to me would have been so beautiful if Jack walked with his father. Like his father walks out, Jack walks behind his father, and just like when you're leaving the church, every row gets up and walks out. That would have been so beautiful.
Kind of like we didn't see him get out of that glowy river pit. I guess we didn't see them walk into the light.
But it just leaves such an in a show that was so open to interpretation with that last episode. To have the final scene be them sitting there with their back to the light.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, but there's people who truly refuse to believe the stuff we've said, who are like, no, they were all dead. And I'm not.
They were all dead the whole
like my
time.
mom, she's like, I'm not watching that ever again. But
I can see that argument.
I do think that, like, you and I have watched it for this podcast. This right here, this is insane, people. This is ridiculous. And I have this because I knew we were going to do a podcast. So I sat there, right? Like, I sat there this.
Plus 61 pages of notes in my Kindle.
Yeah, I sat there like this while I was watching, and I was on the wiki the whole time so that I could keep track and ask questions. That's not how you watch a TV show. Like, that's weird and hard. So people who are just watching and vibing, like, they didn't understand a lot because it's difficult. And even so, there's so much that wasn't explained until later when they came out with these books like you have.
Yeah.
And the showrunners are like, well, we put this in because it's, well, how are we supposed to know that?
Yeah. No, thanks a lot. Thanks for confirming that. So let's talk about the fact that despite everything that we just said, 20 years later, and by the way, are you kidding me? It's been 20 years? 21 years, right?
Yeah, 21 since it started.
People still watch this show.
So
we
good.
know from like questions we've asked on social media in trying to get a vibe about what you guys think and what you feel, that this is still an extremely popular show. I mean, it's been, on Netflix forever, and God willing, it'll stay there. Huge cultural impact.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think we talked a little bit about it last week. Number one, it's just so beautifully done, and is this huge production, even though it was on television. Now, they do that now. We're used to that now with like Netflix shows. But back then, we were not used to this level of production and writing and intrigue on TV every week. And so there were so many of us that were really blown away when this came on.
Yeah.
And it was just so interesting. It is still so interesting.
It is. It is.
Such a neat
and the performances are so good. And even though, yes, we have picked apart some of the writing, I feel like this is a story that, I mean, I think that everybody at some point in their life has thought to themselves, what would I do if I was in a plane crash and I got stranded on a deserted island? Like, everybody who ever saw, what's the Tom Hanks movie where he gets stranded
Castaway.
with the volleyball? Castaway, right? I mean, Castaway made you think, oh my God, how would I survive that, right?
I would not survive. I already know that. I'd be dead on that island in a week.
There's part of that. And then I think the other thing is because it pulls them out of the whole of society, but we have a microcosm of society. It gives us a place to experience, like, how do we deal with conflict, and how can we do that better, and look at how much better things go when we work together. Than, live together, die alone. Yeah. Is kind of like, I would really love that to be the motto of the United States right now, because right now we are not living together, right?
No,
which means we're gonna die alone, people. So, but I think that, like, it makes you think so much about what would I do in that situation? Yep. How would I be? How would I show up for a situation like this? I think that's part of it.
It's also just so entertaining. Oh my God, this show is so entertaining. And we've talked a lot about how the seasons are so different from one another, but each one is still so entertaining. So even though 5 and 6 felt really different from the previous ones, they were still really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Really
and I think they created amazing characters too.
Yeah, they did.
They really did.
And they had really amazing actors in these roles.
Yep. Yeah, they got very, very lucky in their actors. They did not. There was really no dud in the bunch.
Also, there was so much funny stuff that happened in these shows. And so much funny stuff.
They inserted enough of. So I have a list here that I want to make sure we don't forget. Okay. But they inserted enough of a mixture of humor, absolutely positive, beautiful, emotional scenes. And the music. Oh, that's who died.
Yeah, we talked about the music too.
The music is so important to the vibe of this show. And I I think that that's also part of it, is because this show could have been really heavy all the time.
Yeah.
And you get, I mean, you got Sawyer and Hurley for
And
your
Sawyer, Hurley, Charlie,
Charlie,
in those first,
and then later
seasons.
on Miles and
Miles.
Daniel. And you get your comic relief people.
Yeah.
So I think it did that really, really well. And I think that's what...
The funniest thing in this last season was when they had Locke's stupid little funeral. And Lapidus goes, "This is the weirdest damn funeral I have ever been to."
Yes! Yes! So like, good. I mean, I don't even... Like, the Ajira thing, I hate that so much. And then they, like, walk around carrying the box that has John Locke's actual body in it for a really long time. They're hoofing it across the island with this box. And But then when they open it, like, it opens up and he just sort of rolls out and flops on. It's like, oh, that's so disrespectful.
And think about, he's been dead for weeks. It's not like a recent thing. Jeremy Bentham died weeks ago.
Weeks ago. And I know embalming, can help, but honey... He would not have looked that good in that, especially he's been sitting in the... that was all very weird. I think we could have done without the Ajira people entirely. But that was also a shock,
murdered.
Though.
Yeah, I mean, Caesar got murdered by false Locke, and then poor Ilana just blew up like Dr. Arzt.
It's just...
Holy cow.
I guess that was a shock, right? When they flopped him out of the box, was that really the first time that, if you're watching it the first time, is that the first time you realized that that's not really John Locke? John Locke's body is over here?
I can't remember.
I think that's what it... Remember. I think it was supposed to be a big reveal.
Yeah, it was. I think so too.
I'm gonna see that tonight, so let you know.
It was definitely a big reveal. I think I remember being shocked by that the first time. I remembered the second time, like, oh yeah, that's
You're like,
Locke.
oh God. Well, then who's the other guy? So I have two lists.
Okay.
I have top most tragic, heartbreaking moments
in the whole show.
Then, in the whole show, and then most beautiful moments.
Okay.
And I mean, we've talked about some of these, not Penny's boat. Like we talked about not Penny's boat and Libby getting shot. We talked about that last week.
So
we just talked about Alex's death, Juliet's death, the Sun and Jin, which I called drama porn because it pisses me off that they ended up like that.
It's probably Sun and Jin's death is just the worst. The worst. It drug out for a really long time.
They really did kill it.
And everybody else survived that. Even Lapidus, who was blown up, everybody else did survive that, but they stayed.
And he chose to stay with her.
Stayed and drowned on purpose. And I have a lot in
here.
Which
bothers me because he knows he has a daughter.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it right now, but I mean, I have a lot in here about how they punish mothers in this show. Every single person who becomes a mother is completely punished, or they just forget. Like, she just forgot she had a whole toddler. She was that toddler's only mother, and it left it with her father and mother, who were terrible people, by the way.
People. Yep.
And so and just left and went to an island and never see
it. The filming of that, the acting of it, the music, everything about it,
so sad,
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it really was.
Also, John Locke, Jeremy Bentham's death.
Oh,
because
God.
He is, at that moment, John Locke is so broken that he's going to kill himself because he thinks he failed.
Isn't it weird how I would say Jin and Sun's death are heartbreaking and Locke's death is tragic? Like, they're two totally different feelings.
You're right. It's so different.
Tragic, his death, and the life that he has had and the point that he's come to and where he is to commit suicide.
And it's shocking. He's trying to commit suicide. Ben comes in and stops him from doing it.
On his knees, by the way.
And you're like,
him not to.
You're like, oh my God, like, that's so cool. And then Ben strangles him and then strings him up. That's horrible.
It is horrible. It was horrible.
So, like you said, that one is so tragic, so tragic. We talked about Alex. We talked about Sun screaming on the boat when she thinks Jin died. Saeed, this is tragic, heartbreaking to me. The Saeed shooting young Ben, and then both of them end up losing their souls.
I know. I know.
There's a thing there that's just, and I do think we also talked about this last. Did we talk about this last? I think we talked about Sawyer killing Locke's father.
Yep. I don't know
because
if we talked about
that
last time or not.
destroyed Sawyer.
Yep.
That broke him. He was broken for a really long time because of that. Yeah.
But it was like he finally did. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. That guy was awful. I hated that guy.
Oh, he was horrible. Like I'm like fine for him to be dead, but the fact that Locke used Sawyer.
And that was honestly the worst part of it, because Sawyer might have done it regardless if he'd have been told who was in there. But yeah.
Yes. Yep. Do you have any other to add to, tragic, heartbreaking? I mean, we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about it. Just Rousseau. For me, it was Rousseau and Son and Jen were probably the two worst.
Really bad. And then there's some beautiful moments, which a lot of them are actually, I think, because of the music a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But when they first build the boat and the boat launches and everybody's waving, it's when they first, and there's just something so beautiful and hopeful in the music, and everybody on the island is so hopeful. And every time I watch that scene, I get goosebumps. So there's just something beautiful about that to me. I count when Sawyer brings. Oh, Trisha Tanaka, man. That's such a great episode.
It really, I mean, I think when he pushed that van down the hill and he finally started it before he ran into a rock and then goes right, like I get goosebumps. It really makes you so incredibly emotional. It's such a silly scene, but it's so emotional.
So beautiful. It's such a great, they find the beer, and then there's the part where Sawyer's teaching Jin how to say, no, those pants do not make you look fat. It's just such a beautiful, I love that scene. That scene makes me love the song Shambhala.
Yeah, right.
So whenever I hear that, that's what I think of as that episode. Like we said it last time, Charlie making the sign of the cross when he dies is sometimes I make it all the way to that, and I'm just like hurting. But then when he does that, I get choked up. At the end, the very end in the last episode, Jack ends up crying in his father's arms, and there's finally a healing. You see a healing happen for him, and closing the loop with his dad. And one of my favorite funny moments is the ping pong, when they play ping pong, and to get Sawyer to, and the bet is, well, if you lose, you can't do nicknames for a week.
Nicknames, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, I love little cute things like that.
Yeah, it's funny.
I also had on here the funny thing about the putting the medal in the, and one of my other favorite scenes is when Jin and Bernard, and I think it's Sawyer, they're going out on a, it's one of the let's go hike through the jungle.
Right.
And they're there overnight, and Jin is telling a ghost story in Korean with the flashlight under his face. And he's so still, funny. It's so cute. And they're like, oh, it is so cute. Good. I love that scene.
Yes.
Love that.
One of the funniest moments in season 6 was, I think it's maybe season 5, when they're on the Ajira flight. Because Ben is just such a smart ass. He's such a smart ass. And he's just sitting over there, even though they know they're about to like crash or whatever. He's just sitting over there reading, and Jack looks over and he goes, "How can you read?" And Ben goes, "My mother taught me."
My mother taught me. Which is funny because he didn't have a mother.
I mean, honest to God, he's just so fun. He's just so like effortlessly funny all the time.
Yeah.
He's such a bastard. I don't know.
Oh, yes.
So many good. I think we talked about a lot of the good moments. Our favorite.
Oh my God,
moments.
I think we did. So, overall, obviously, we really like the show Lost.
Really a lot. And honestly, Melissa and I could probably sit here for another 3 episodes and talk about it more.
If we got more organized, yeah.
We really probably could.
We probably could. And who knows, maybe someday we'll do an episode by episode of Lost. You never know.
I looked if that was on YouTube, and there are some videos that are like 17 years old of like episode by episode. I'm like,
this show
has been around for so long.
There's a good podcast where the one friend has seen Lost and the other one hasn't,
Oh, is
so they're
that
getting
right?
lost for the first time. So that's always fun to hear someone who hasn't seen it before, and the
Yeah.
person who has is like, "So that's what you think is going on?" Okay, and he's like, "Am I close?" And he's like, "I'm not going to say anything," and you're just like, "Oh shit, you're
What's
so
funny
wrong."
to me is even though we did all this and it's been 2 episodes and we've talked so long, is there's so much we still didn't even hit and so much we still
there's
didn't even
people we've
cover.
never talked about,
Like
so
I'm looking on here
please.
about people who died. Like we didn't talk about Dogen and the problems with Dogen.
Oh, and the
many
whole
issues.
temple.
So many
You know what?
issues.
That whole side quest with the temple and Dogen, I hate that.
Yeah.
Really hate that.
Well,
That is
when
so
you
stupid.
realize how stupid it is because they delve right back into this Asian mysticism that everything from Asia is mythical and interesting. And Dogen is a very famous actor.
Yes, he
From
is, yeah.
Tokyo, and then his whole backstory is that I was from Osaka. I'm like, babes, no, you're not. Your accent is just straight out of Tokyo. You don't have a Kansai accent at all. And so
See, she knows.
He's a samurai who's there, but he's probably born in what, 1972.
Yeah. I think we weren't doing that anymore, dude.
I
I don't know. That's
yeah, it's stupid. And where'd he come from? How'd he get there? Why is he there?
And then the whole thing where he's like, he does speak English, but he doesn't, that's just a power play, which harkens back to the sun
Japanese
thing.
is so
and-
mystical.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. That whole, so we're not going to talk about the temple because it's stupid.
But the temple's where Smokey originates from. He comes out of that hole, but also it's protected from him. I mean, none of it made sense. I don't know. We didn't talk. See,
Yeah,
we could
no.
talk another 3 hours.
Yeah. So yep. We're not gonna go there because that way lies madness. But we do want to thank you for watching. If
you did.
if you managed to stick with us through these 4-ish or
Oof.
more hours of
Gracious.
these 2 episodes.
Did it make you go back and watch Lost again? I hope it got you
Yeah.
excited for Lost again.
I hope so. And now we're going to be doing this with Buffy, but we're going to do it across 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Which maybe we should done with Lost. but
Probably that whole
we
last-
had we
yeah,
planned to
last
do
season.
2, so we did 2. So we're going to be doing and do not expect it to be any more organized or sequential than this. This is about as good as
Definitely
it
not.
gets. No. But we thank you so much. And Liza, where can they find us?
We are on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and we are also on Instagram, TikTok, and we have a Patreon. So please check all those out.
Yes, thank you very much. And until we see you again next time,
Stay unmasked and overstimulated.
thank you so much
Bye,
for
guys.
watching. Bye.